Chapter 1262. In the blink of an eye, another 7 days had passed, and there was still no movement from the devil world. Just like the immortal world, Ziyan also needed time to rest and reorganize the devil world's army. Otherwise, the outcome of the next battle would be unpredictable. However, within these 7 days, another 20 righteous gods had ascended, especially Eva, one of the 2 seraphs of the Western divine realm, had ascended to the goddess of sacrifice. This news quickly spread throughout the 4 divine realms and encouraged the people. In addition, most of the righteous gods were untitled lower gods of the 3rd tier. It seemed that the power of the heavenly melody scroll had also begun to weaken, and it was unable to give more titles to the righteous gods. The heavenly path of Mahayana had entered an era where untitled righteous gods kept appearing. In these 7 days, Lin Muyu did not go anywhere but stayed on the Luoyan mountain to reorganize the Taishu Gate. In these few days, according to the grading of strength and comprehension, the disciples of the gate were divided into 3 major levels. The 3rd level was the weakest, and they practiced the 5 elements technique and the heaven and earth technique. The 2nd level disciples could practice the Taishu art and the martial god art. The 1st level disciples were the most talented, and they could practice the formless elephant art and the star art. Obviously, Leah belonged to the 1st level, and she followed Lin Muyu to practice the star art and the light hunting art every day. Everything was very peaceful, until one morning a few days later. Boom! A sound that seemed to explode reverberated above the Luoyan mountain, and Lin Muyu suddenly woke up from her meditation. Looking not far away, she saw Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi jumping off the bed almost at the same time. Their bodies were plated with a layer of golden light, and they were wearing the goddess battle dress. Although she did not know what happened, the sound was not normal. What happened? I don't know, Lin Muyu frowned. Let's go take a look. But with a crisp sound, Lin Muyu had already disappeared, breaking through the void and heading towards the sky. Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi also quickly followed. In the sky of the Eastern Divine Realm, the shadows of the gods kept appearing. Even the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor, Xiao, Feng Jixing, Wei Chou, and the others had arrived, and they all stared at the sky, dumbfounded. There was a huge figure about 5 meters tall, like a giant, but it did not look like a giant from any plane. The mottled rust revealed its identity. This was not a living body, but a machine. However, in the machine's left arm was a huge dark blue warhammer. With a sudden swing, it completely disintegrated a spirit mountain. Rumbling, sounds rang out incessantly as the spirited mountain cracked open from the core. The machine actually let out a wild roar as it opened its mouth and began to devour the energy within the spirited mountain's core. Thunder World, it's over, Xiao murmured. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor, Lin Muyu, and the others all stood in the distance, motionless. They could feel how vast the energy field of this huge machine was. Everyone knew that Spirit Mountain was a fundamental part of the divine realm. The gods lived on Spirit Mountain, so the sturdiness of Spirit Mountain was evident. Even the War of the Gods couldn't destroy all of Spirit Mountain, and the number of people who could destroy Spirit Mountain with one blow could be counted on one hand. But this machine had done it. What the hell is this? Looking at the machine that was devouring the energy of Spirit Mountain, Feng Jixing couldn't help but frown and ask. Among the crowd, only an untitled god with blue eyes trembled. It's Titan. It's the awakening of Titan. Titan? Lin Muyu glanced at him and said, Lan Yi, Titan is just a legend. Moreover, this is just a powerful machine. What does it have to do with Titan? Lan Yi shook his head slowly. Your Highness, you might not know this, but this Titan is definitely not an ordinary machine. Lan Yi slowly shook his head. Your Majesty War God might not know this, but this Titan is not a normal machine. A normal machine, even a concentrated energy cannon, would not be able to blast open the core of a spirit mountain, but a Titan can do it. Titan is an immortal life form. They have existed since ancient times. Didn't you see it? Its power source is the spiritual energy within the spirit mountain, not nuclear energy or gasoline. This thing is not a machine. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor said indifferently, the problem is, how did this thing find our Eastern Divine Realm? Lan Yi said in a low voice. The ancient titan has always been in a comatose state and has sunk for hundreds of thousands of years. Now that it has awakened, it won't be as simple as just one titan, but an entire race. At this moment, a buzzing sound came from afar. This titan seemed to have finished enjoying the spiritual power of Spirit Mountain. Its eyes emitted a deep blue light, and the hammer in its hand suddenly flew toward Mount Dashang. F***CK, it wants to eat Mount Dashang? The 7 luminaries demon emperor suddenly raised Panga's axe and flew forward, blocking the path of the hammer and sweeping it horizontally. Boom! Crazy energy exploded, and the titan's hammer was turned back. The hammer was surrounded by a blood-colored spiritual power. The 7 luminaries demon emperor didn't have it easy either. He was actually forced back hundreds of meters by the hammer, and even entered berserk god mode. The blood-colored cloak behind him fluttered, and he had a look of shock on his face. Lan Yi said loudly, "Your Highness Demon Emperor, we must gather all our strength. Otherwise, we won't be able to kill this titan. It will continue to devour until the entire god realm is destroyed. Titans are ancient gods, gods who ruled the world before the gods appeared. They are not machines, so we can't underestimate them. Roar!" In the air, the titan's body glowed with a blood-colored light. The hammer in its hand was raised again, and its target was the 7 luminaries demon emperor. This time, Lin Muyu didn't just sit and watch. Instead, she quickly pulled out the Xian Yuan sword and attacked from the side. With a low roar, she activated the AO sword technique to 60% and slashed at the side of the titan. Lin Muyu was fast, but the titan seemed a little clumsy. It couldn't dodge at all, and Lin Muyu's sword got close to it. However, the moment it got close, the titan roared again, and a layer of energy instantly plated dozens of centimeters around its body. It was an energy shield filled with spiritual power. The Xian Yuan sword slashed down with a clang, but it only cut open the energy shield. It couldn't attack the titan's body.
What?
The titan's right arm attacked like lightning, directly hitting Lin Muyu's arm. Golden light bloomed, and the AO sword technique protected her body, blocking the attack. In front of her, an axe spiraled through the air and directly hit the titan's head, which had lost its shield. It was the Pangu axe controlled by the 7 luminaries demon emperor. Good. Lin Muyu held the long sword horizontally and stabbed it. Suddenly, the bright sword light penetrated the titan's body. At the same time, a spiritual storm surged outwards, making Lin Muyu feel pain as if his skin was being scratched by a blade. However, the martial god's body was so tough that he finally shattered the titan's heart with another attack.
What?
This huge killing machine actually let out a sigh like a human, and the light in its eyes dimmed. It was dead. Lin Muyu carried the titan beast's gigantic body with one hand and flew towards Mount Dashang. The eastern celestial realm's gods were all dumbfounded. A gigantic creature that required the martial god and the mad god to work together to kill. Nobody knew what this thing was. Boom! The titan's body was thrown in the open space in front of the hall of Dashang, stirring up a lot of dust. The gods landed one by one. The 7 luminaries demon emperor frowned and said, "Such a big guy came, and there was no news at all. Who is in charge of patrolling the periphery of the eastern divine realm today? Come out." The god of earth Nangong Lai took a step forward, cupped his fists and said, "It's me. Demon Emperor, I didn't feel the titan's power either. I only noticed that a big hole had been pierced through the wall of space." Then, this big guy suddenly appeared near Mount Dashang. Lin Muyu squatted down and examined the titan's body. She said, "Big brother, there's no need to look into who's responsible. When did the titan come? Even I didn't sense it. This thing doesn't have any divine power. It only relies on the spiritual energy it devours. What do we do now?" Xiao asked. "Dissect it and see?" Lin Muyu said. Chu Yao was stunned. "Sure." And so, Lin Muyu raised the Xianyuan sword and cut open the titan's body where its heart was. She saw that there were actually veins under the mottled steel, and blood was even gushing out of them. The heart was glowing with a brilliant blue light, but it had already stopped beating. Not a single organ was missing. Furthermore, almost all of the Titan's organs were preserved within the protective layer of steel. In addition, there were many pipes used to transport spiritual energy. It looked very complicated. "This is an organic life form," Lan Yi said confidently. "It seems that the records in the ancient books are correct. These Titans are all cursed gods. They lost their eternal life, so they can only use the steel technology of the ancient civilization to extend their lives. They look like machines, but they're still gods. It's just that they've mastered the method to devour spiritual energy. Once the entire Titan race awakens, I'm afraid it'll be very troublesome." Lin Muyu asked, "Lan Yi, how do you know so much?" Lan Yi smiled awkwardly. "Because I was born in the world where the Titans fell. It's called the Void Realm, and it's just a ruin. I'm an orphan and grew up in abandoned raw materials. I can only eat food that's been severely contaminated by radiation. Fortunately, I was blessed by the gods and obtained the opportunity to ascend. Tell me about the Titans." The 7 luminaries demon emperor sat down on the rusty leg of the Titan's corpse. His blood-colored cloak fluttered behind him as he said, "I want to know more about the Titans, as well as what they want to do and what they want to do after they awaken." Lan Yi bowed respectfully and said, "Your Majesty, the Titans were originally just a legend. They're buried deep under the Void Realm and have been sleeping for countless years, so much so that people have forgotten about them. I've only read about them in a book left behind in the ruins. These ancient gods were cursed after they were defeated. Having lost their eternal life, they abandoned themselves and sank into the endless abyss. Their home, the Void Realm, became a wasteland due to overexploitation. People thought that the Titans had given up on them, but now it seems that the Titans did not give up. On the contrary, they used the technology of the ancient civilization and their own strength to complete a new evolution. Let's call it evolution for now." Feng Jixing walked forward and knocked on the Titan's head with the back of his finger. He said, "You're saying that these Titans gave up their bodies and replaced them with steel?" "Yes, and these aren't ordinary steel. They're made of a special alloy that's very strong. I'd like to ask something." The 7 luminaries demon emperor stood up and said, "Why did the Titans come to us?" "Because the spiritual power in the Eastern Divine Realm is the most vigorous." The 7 luminaries demon emperor fell silent and looked at Lin Muyu. Both of them felt their hearts sink. People always said that the road to happiness was strewn with setbacks, but the Eastern Divine Realm had too many setbacks. Chapter 1263. How many of these Titans are there in total? Qinin asked. Lan Yi replied respectfully, "I'm not too sure myself, but there are records in the books that at least tens of thousands of gods fell into the abyss. Taking into account the failure rate of transforming into Titan machines, there are at least thousands of such giant gods." Qin fell silent. Lin Muyu raised her head and said, "The first thing to figure out is what the Titans want. If they only need spiritual power, then we can let them occupy some spirit mountains and live in harmony. However, if the Titans only want to destroy the world, then I'm afraid a battle between us and the Titans is unavoidable." Xiao looked at the ruins of the Thunderous Realm's spirit mountain from afar and shook her head with a bitter smile. "I'm afraid it's not as simple as absorbing spiritual power. They obviously want destruction. If that's the case, it'll be troublesome." Lin Muyu looked to the north and said, "The Devil Realm has been restless. If the Devil Realm and the Titans join forces, it'll be our end." The 7 luminaries demon emperor dusted off the engine oil on his palms and said, "We need to go to the Void Realm." Lin Muyu shook her head and said, "If the Titans are really malicious, then it's obviously not appropriate for us to go to the Void Realm. No matter who goes, I'm afraid they won't be able to return. So be it. It's better than staying here and waiting for death." The 7 luminaries demon emperor stepped forward and grabbed the handle of Panga's axe. He stepped on the Titan's head and pulled the axe out. It was immediately stained with blood and oil. Lan Yi said, "Demon Emperor, wait a moment. Since this Titan has come to the Divine Realm, the other Titans shouldn't be staying in the Void Realm. Even if you go to the Void Realm now, you'll only find ruins. Besides, the Void Realm is far away and it won't be easy to go there. Why don't we wait a little longer?" The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor said calmly, wait for the second batch of titans to attack? That's true. I'm afraid it'll be too late. Enough, I'll go. Lin Muyu stood up. You're going? Yes. Lin Muyu nodded. It's most suitable for me to go. Firstly, even if I can't defeat them, I can still escape. Secondly, Demon Emperor, you have to stay in the Eastern Divine Realm, so it's not suitable for you to leave. Furthermore, Sister Xiao will be able to send me there very quickly using the Northern Skywheel. I'll be able to return quickly as well, so there won't be any delays. Even if the Titans really attack the mountain, I'll be able to make it back in time. I want to go too. Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi said almost at the same time. Xiao couldn't help but smile. Even if you're of the same mind, it wouldn't be good if more people went together, right? Yes. Lin Muyu smiled and said, I'll go alone. I don't have anything to worry about. Don't worry, I'll find the Titan leader as soon as possible and ask him about the situation. Sister Xiao, thank you for your hard work. Lin Muyu took a step forward and stood in the open space, closing her eyes. Xiao summoned the Northern Skywheel and quickly searched for the location of the Void Realm. The next moment, a light flashed, and Lin Muyu was nowhere to be found. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, Chu Chu, Xiao, Feng Jixing, and the other deities raised their heads to look at the sky, watching Lin Muyu leave. It was true that in terms of strength in the entire Eastern Divine Realm, Lin Muyu was the well-deserved number 1. Moreover, he was not the supreme ruler of the Eastern Divine Realm, so he was the most suitable person to go. Whoosh! The time quicksand continued to slide around her. Under the impact of the time quicksand, her body automatically resisted it. Lin Muyu involuntarily entered her martial god form. She wore a dazzling armor and a cloak behind her. She traversed through the stars in a heroic manner. In less than a quarter of an hour, she had already arrived at her destination through the teleportation of the Northern Skywheel. Her figure suddenly surged through the air and appeared above the Void Realm. At that time, it was nighttime, and the land of the Void Realm was a mess. The wreckage of huge bodies was everywhere, and a rotten smell rose to the sky. Lin Muyu could even see wanderers walking through the wilderness, looking for food, and some wild dogs running around. However, those were not what he was looking for. Finding the whereabouts of the Titans was his goal. As the shuttle flew through the faint clouds, Lin Muyu spread out her spiritual sense to search for the celestial body as much as possible. Sure enough, she could sense wisps of spiritual power appearing in the depths of the earth not long after. Moreover, the spiritual power in the Void Realm was very thin. It was obvious that it had been exhausted by the Titans. It was no wonder that it had become an abandoned celestial body. How to go to the depths of the earth? This was a problem. After searching for a long time, there was still no entrance to the depths of the earth. Just as Lin Muyu was thinking, a black shadow suddenly shot out from the ground. It was a hook-shaped battle axe, dragging a long iron chain behind it, and went straight for Lin Muyu's abdomen. It's coming! Lin Muyu became excited. She shook her arms and concentrated the power of the holy martial arts. Her figure leaped lightly in the air to avoid the attack from the Titan on the ground. She grabbed the handle of the hook-shaped battle axe with a backhand and followed it back to the ground. Sure enough, in the wilderness, a behemoth was retrieving the battle axe. Lin Muyu took advantage of the situation and clenched her right fist. She slammed 60% of the power of the AO sword tactics into the Titan's head. Boom! The Titan buzzed from the attack, and Lin Muyu did not give it a chance to fight back. She flew up and hit the Titan's vital point with her knee. She turned around and kicked in the air. With a clang, the Titan's head was almost deformed. It turned out that there were strong and weak Titans. This Titan was much weaker than the one that destroyed the Spirit Mountain in the Thunderous Realm. At least, it was not as agile and violent. Wah! The Titan let out a painful wail, and lightning flashed around him. He wanted to leave. Lin Muyu naturally sensed that the Titan was going to leave. He was now using a power similar to teleportation. In for a penny, in for a pound. Lin Muyu opened her arms and hugged one of the Titan's arms. She said in a low voice, "If you want to leave, Take me with you. Titan was obviously taken aback, but he had no choice but to release the arrow. Following the flickering of lightning, a layer of energy rippled outwards, bringing Lin Muyu along as they traveled downwards. Peng, peng, peng. After passing through 3 layers of barriers, Lin Muyu was dumbfounded. There was actually a barrier underground. No wonder the spiritual pulse technique could not detect it. Light flashed in front of Lin Muyu's eyes, and she saw a shocking scene. Underground, it looked like a huge factory. Countless complicated machines were operating, making loud noises. Moreover, there were many layers of this factory, and it was so intricate that it was unimaginable. Pooh! After passing through the last layer of the barrier, Lin Muyu's vision darkened. Lin Muyu forced himself to open his eyes and saw that he had landed on a mountain range. It turned out that there was such a thing underground. But when he took a closer look, Lin Muyu was stunned. The forest on both sides was not a forest at all, but titans. For a moment, countless pairs of blue eyes stared at him, and he felt a chill run down his spine. Outsider. A titan clenched his fists and said eagerly, "Those who enter the Holy Land without permission will die. Outsider, let me be your opponent." The rest of the titans roared in response. Lin Muyu spun and landed on the ground. She looked at the group of titans calmly. Suddenly, she sheathed her sword and raised her hands. She said, "I have no ill intentions."
What?
"I want to see your patriarch." "See the patriarch?" The titan who challenged her let out a cold mechanical laugh. "You are not qualified to see the patriarch. You are just an outsider. You must die." "No, I must see your patriarch. This is also for the sake of the Titan tribe." With that, holy martial power surged into Lin Muyu's body. He suddenly shouted, "Patriarch tyrant, I want to see you. Come out." The group of titans seemed to have gone berserk. Many of them raised their warhammers and axes and roared, "Noya, kill him! Kill him immediately! Outsiders are not qualified to see the patriarch tyrant, even if he is a god." However, at that moment, the mountain range suddenly trembled a few times. Closely after, an elderly voice rang out from behind the crowd. "Let him go. This is not an ordinary outsider." The titans opened up a path, and a titan who was almost twice the size of the other titans walked over. He held a thick metal staff that was 10 meters long. He walked over step by step, and each step was like an earthquake. When he arrived 5 meters in front of Lin Muyu, he looked at Lin Muyu with his starving blue eyes and said, "Who exactly are you? I can sense how majestic your godly power is. You are a new god, an abnormally powerful new god. Those old gods are unable to defeat the titans." "You are Elder Tyrant?" Lin Muyu asked. "Yes, that's me." "Can you see me?" Lin Muyu doubted Elder Tyrant's eyes. However, Elder Tai Lan laughed. "In order to resist the corrosion of time, our Titan race has no choice but to abandon our physical eyes and use the mechanical spirit eyes to observe. However, you don't have to worry. I can see you, and I'm much clearer than you can see other things. Speak, outsider. Who exactly are you, and why have you come to the Titan race?" Lin Muyu said, "I come from the Eastern God realm. I am a martial god of the Mahayana heavenly path. My name is Lin Muyu." "Martial god?" Elder Tyrant seemed nostalgic. "Martial god is the god of war from back then, right? I didn't expect the new god to confer the title of god of war again. All right, god of war, you have the right to speak in the sacred land of the Titan race. Now tell me, what exactly do you want to do here?" "I should be the one asking what you want to do." Lin Muyu said, "Not long after, one of your titans barged into the Eastern God realm and devoured and destroyed a spirit mountain. There were billions of living beings under that spirit mountain." "A titan devoured a spirit mountain?" Elder Tyrant seemed very surprised. "Impossible. That's completely impossible. We titans love all living beings and would never do something like destroying a spirit mountain. Absolutely impossible, but that's the truth." Lin Muyu raised her palm and divine power surged. She projected the scene of the titan destroying the thunderous realm. Immediately, the group of titans, including Elder Tyrant, was stunned. "How is this possible? Who is this titan?" Elder Tyrant roared. Among the group of titans, only one stood up and said, "It's Alenko, Elder Tyrant." Alenko left the Void Realm 30 years ago in search of a new world. He followed Elder Lei Luan to a faraway place to search for new energy. Elder Tyrant, have you forgotten? Could it be Lei Luan? Tyrant was very agitated. His entire body was trembling as he said, Lei Luan betrayed the God's pact. He betrayed the Titan race. Oh my God. Lin Muyu had a rough idea of what was going on. She said, "So, there's a traitor in the Titan race?" "That's right." Tyrant slowly sat on the ground and said, "It's another elder of the Titan race. His name is Lei Luan. 30 years ago, when the energy ran out, he left the Void Realm with most of the Titans. Now, it seems that Lei Luan has found a solution to the depletion of energy. At the same time, he has also betrayed the covenant we've followed for many years." Lin Muyu was speechless. Chapter 1264. Is his solution to the problem to devour all the spiritual mountains and destroy the plains? With a single thought, he can kill at least 10 million people. Is this your elder's solution? Lin Muyu slowly sat on a tree root that had been cut off at the waist. She held the Xinyuan sword in her hand and said, "Elder, the Titan race should give the world an explanation." "I know, of course I know." Elder Tai Lon seemed to be a little tired, and he sat on the ground with a thud. He looked at Lin Muyu and said, "The Titan race used to be the god race that ruled the world, but we were defeated by Zeus and ended up in this state. Since then, our race has been divided. Some of the Titans think that we should go into hiding and enjoy the peace of the world, while others think that we should find a way to survive and take revenge on our enemies." Lin Muyu smiled. "Looks like Elder Lei Luan's group is the revenge group, right?" Elder Tai Lon said, "Lei Luan's parents were cruelly killed when he was young. Ever since then, the seed of revenge has been planted in Lei Luan's heart. Now, he has left with most of the Titan warriors for a long time, and he has finally found a way to take revenge. However, the price he has to pay is the lives of billions of people." Lin Muyu took a deep breath and said, "I'm sure Elder is very clear about the Titan's power. Right now, the main gods of the Mahayana heavenly path are basically no match for the Titans. Moreover, the demon realm is at war with the god realm. If these Titan warriors cause trouble, the entire god realm will be in danger, and it might even bring about destruction." A dim light flickered in Elder Tai Lan's eyes as he said, "Is the martial god suspecting that Lei Luan's revenge group will ally with the demon realm to deal with the god realm? That's possible." Haha. Elder Tai Lon suddenly laughed, and his huge mechanical body rumbled continuously. After a few seconds, he stopped and said, "I think the martial god is thinking too much. Lei Luan's target is definitely not humane gods. Once he obtains enough energy through plundering, he will attack his true enemies." "True enemies?" Lin Muyu was stunned. Who is Lei Luan's true enemy? "The ancient gods of the sky beyond heaven." Elder Tai Lon took a deep look at the other party and said, "It was the ancient gods who took everything from us. They took away the godly powers of Lei Luan's parents, causing them to die instantly. If Lei Luan's power was strong enough, he would definitely attack the sky beyond heaven and not the gods of the 6 realms." Lin Muyu's heart sank. This might not be a good thing for our 6 realms. The Mahayana heavenly Tao originates from the sky beyond heaven. Once the sky beyond heaven is conquered, the source of power for the 6 realms will disappear. When that time comes, another heavenly punishment will be inevitable." Elder Tai Lon said, "Martial God, don't worry. As long as I'm alive, I won't let Lei Luan do as he pleases. Even if I have to use up my last bit of strength, I'll stop Lei Luan from destroying the world." "How?" "My clan still has more than 3,000 Titan warriors. I'll bring them out of the Void Realm and search for Lei Luan's army. As long as we find Lei Luan, we'll immediately bring him back to the Void Realm and seal their power. At least, we won't let these worlds perish in the hands of the Titan clan. In ancient times, we were the protectors of the world." Elder Tai Lan's eyes flickered, and his body emitted the sound of old machinery rubbing against each other. He stood up with the support of his metal staff and seemed to be strenuous. Lin Muyu frowned and said, If I didn't hear wrongly, Elder, you only have around 3,000 Titan warriors under your command, while Lei Luan has more than 5,000 Titan warriors. I'm afraid that with your strength, you won't be able to fight against his revenge army, right? Yes, I can't fight, but that doesn't mean I won't fight. The Titan clan will never lose the courage to fight. Elder Tai Lon raised his metal staff high and roared, "Warriors of the Titan clan, pack your energy bags. It's time for us to set off. We'll search for the lost warriors and bring them back to our home. They haven't seen their families for too long." The group of Titans raised their clumsy weapons one after another, and their roars were deafening. It was as if thousands of fighter jets had taken off at the same time, and the roars were almost unbearable. Lin Muyu stood up, and her body continued to rise until she was at the same level as Elder Tai Lan's head. She said, "The information I can provide you is that one of the Titans of the Revenge faction has appeared at Mount Deshang in the Eastern Divine Realm. We don't know where the rest are. If Elder Tai Lan launches an attack on the Revenge faction, the Divine Realm can cooperate and help you." "There's no need." Elder Tai Lan's tone was very resolute as he said, "The Titan clan's matters will be settled by the Titan clan itself. The martial god just needs to sit back and wait for the results." "What if you lose?" "Then you'll lose." Elder Tai Lan walked closer and looked at Lin Muyu. He said, "If our Titan clan is defeated, it means that the Titan clan has completely fallen and fallen. Martial god, please kill all the Titans. Don't show any mercy. If the Titans can't become the protector of the world, then let us be completely annihilated." His tone was very calm, as if he was discussing a very ordinary matter. Lin Muyu frowned. "Why must you reject the Divine Realm's help?" "Because..." Elder Tai Lan's gaze became fierce, and he said, "Because your Mahayana Heaven's way originates from the outer heavens, and you're the descendants of the mortal enemies of our Titan clan. Could it be that you want our Titan clan to form an alliance with our former enemies?" Lin Muyu didn't say anything else. She cupped her fists and said, "Then I wish you good luck. I'll be leaving. Farewell, martial god." Elder Tai Lan watched as Lin Muyu flew up. Meanwhile, Lin Muyu looked down and discovered that many colossal beings were rising from the ground. Air currents were surging. It was just as Elder Tai Lan had said. The Titan clan's internal strife was about to begin. There's actually such a history. After hearing Lin Muyu's words, everyone was extremely astonished. Ziyao frowned slightly and said, "In that case, the Titans have already refused to communicate with us. Are they going to use their clan's method to settle the problem?" "Yes, Elder Tai Lan seems like a stubborn old man. He doesn't listen to my words at all." Lin Muyu took a cup of water from Tang Xiaoxi and drank it in one gulp. She said, "Once the Titan clan starts an internal strife, it will definitely be a world-shaking battle. Regardless of whether Elder Tai Lan's group wins or loses, we should make preparations in advance and protect the various spiritual mountains under the Eastern Divine Realm. We can't let the Titans devour them anymore. The more planes they devour, the stronger they will become. When they are strong enough, they will attack the sky beyond heaven." Feng Jixing stood up and said, "Furthermore, Ziyan is still eyeing us covetously. As the master of the Devil Realm, he definitely won't miss such an opportunity. I'm worried that he will instigate or even help Lei Luan's revenge faction to defeat Elder Tai Lan's group. When that time comes, it will be too late for regrets. We won't even have a chance to turn the tables. We must plan ahead." The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor nodded and said, "That's right. However, we must first find out where the Titans will start their internal strife. Only then can we make preparations in advance. Therefore, we need to send people out and keep an eye on the Titan clan's movements at all times." Miyue said, "Mount Deshang is full of spiritual energy. We can fight against the Devil Realm's Mara army on Mount Deshang, but once we leave Mount Deshang, the outcome will be hard to predict." "That's right. Ziyan still has a powerful Devil Realm army, as well as those demon gods that are continuously ascending from the lower realm. It's said that they have recently gained a few more upper demon gods. It's very difficult to deal with them." Chu Yao's gaze was faint. In terms of insight, no one in the god realm could compare to her. "Then what should we do?" The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor frowned and asked. Lin Muyu put down her teacup and said resolutely, "Send out a small number of the Heaven Punishment Heavenly Army to patrol all the Heaven Realms regions. Pay attention to protect yourselves. The rest of the gods, prepare yourselves and set off at any time." At night, the gods did not rest early. Lin Muyu brought Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi to the Luoyan mountain to stare blankly at the moonlight. "You, Feng Jixing, Wei Chou, and Chu Yao are here." Miyue's voice came from behind. "Oh." When Lin Muyu turned around, 3 figures landed on the ground and condensed into 3 figures. The 3 of them bowed to Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi at the same time. This made Qin Yin feel very awkward. She could only quickly support them and said with a smile, "Now that we are not in the Shattered Cauldron realm, this is really too much for Xiao Yin." Lin Muyu smiled slightly. "Big brother Feng, Wei Chou, big sister Chu Yao, you must have something to do here, right?" "Nothing." Feng Jixing waved his hand and said, "We are just here to gather and drink tea. Isn't that good?" "All right. Someone brew tea." "Yes, sect master." The 2 young disciples went to get the tea set, while Lin Muyu and the others sat on the ground, facing the cool breeze and looking at the moon. They were all from the Shattered Cauldron realm, so there was a saying in the divine realm, "There are countless geniuses in the Shattered Cauldron realm." Compared to other planes, the righteous gods in the Shattered Cauldron realm were indeed much more common. This was probably related to luck and environment. No one knows better than Ayu how strong the Titan giants are. Feng Jixing's eyes dimmed. "If a war really breaks out, what do you think our chances of winning are?" "About 30%. Lin Muyu frowned and said, "That's still an optimistic estimate. The power contained in the Titan's body is comparable to that of an entire plane. Ordinary gods are no match for them at all. In my opinion, the strength of the elite warriors of the Titan race is very close to that of a first-tier superior god. Even if they are below elite level 1, they are probably at the same level as Little Yin, Little Shi, and Brother Feng." "Oh." Feng Jixing was secretly shocked. Lin Muyu spoke objectively and didn't hold back. After all, a war was imminent and there was no point in flattering oneself. Lin Muyu continued, "If we include divine weapons and superior martial arts, perhaps our second-class superior gods can fight a Titan alone and not lose. However, we only have a handful of superior gods, and the number of Titans. According to what I know, Lei Lun has more than 5,000 Titans under his command, and Elder Tai Lan has more than 3,000. They are already far above us. Can't we find Lei Lun first and negotiate with them?" Wei Chou asked. Immediately, Lin Muyu was startled, and Miyue also fell silent. Chapter 1265. Lei Luan's character is obviously not as honest as Elder Tai Lan's. We're the descendants of the gods of outer heaven, which means that we're the descendants of the Titan's mortal enemies. Do you think that Lei Luan, who's not that honest, will cooperate with us? Lin Muyu smiled faintly. If we really send someone to look for Lei Lun, then that person will definitely not come back alive. Are the Titans really that strong? Miyue asked with a slight frown. Lin Muyu said, "If Elder Tai Lan doesn't want me to leave alive after I enter the Void Realm, then I definitely won't be able to come out alive. At most, 7 or 8 Titans will die, and I'll be killed. In the Titan's homeland, there's always a huge machine roaring. I can sense at least 3 layers of energy shields enveloping their homeland. Not only can these shields block the enemy, but they can also block my power to shatter the void. Unless we kill them all, there's almost no chance of escaping." Everyone was stunned. Tang Xiaoxi looked at Lin Muyu with her beautiful eyes and asked, "Mu, it's too rash and risky to ask you to look for the Titans this time. I won't let you take this risk next time." "It's fine. Besides, I was the one who suggested it." Lin Muyu looked around and said, "Do you have any good ideas to deal with the Titans? Everyone saw the battle during the day. I think the Titans will definitely become our enemy, and they'll be our mortal enemies. This is almost inevitable." Feng Jixing said, "We didn't fight the Titans directly. Tell us about their strength first." The interior of the Titans' bodies is a huge energy field, and their hearts are the core of the energy field. This energy field provides the Titans with a layer of defensive shield outside their bodies. This shield is very difficult to break. Everyone saw during the day that the Demon Emperor and I worked together to break this layer of defensive shield. In addition, there are many holes on the surface of the Titans' bodies. These holes will spew out scorching air currents with similar lethality to the dimensional wind blades. If we're not careful, our shield might be broken through and we'll die. Feng Jixing frowned and said, in other words, only by attacking the Titan's head or heart can we stop them. Otherwise, they will continue fighting endlessly, right? Yes, that's it. Lin Muyu thought for a moment and said, the Titan's body is made of a kind of sturdy alloy. I've seen a factory that produces this kind of alloy. It's extremely huge, and ordinary swords can't do any damage to this kind of alloy. Both my and the Demon Emperor's weapons are first-class divine weapons, so we can barely cut through this kind of alloy. If it were other divine weapons, they might not be able to. Wei Chou said, Lin General, I tested it during the day. The Ho Yibao's decaying power is enough to pierce through a Titan's alloy. And at the moment I shot the arrow, I infused the power of retribution into the arrowhead. This way, the arrowhead will explode in the Titan's heart. As long as I have enough time to test it in actual combat, I believe it won't be a problem to kill a Titan with one arrow. Lin Muyu was pleasantly surprised. Wei Chou, are you really that confident? Yes, I hope this assumption of mine isn't blind confidence. No, I believe in you. It definitely isn't. If we really start fighting, I'll arrange for people to protect you, the god of justice. When the time comes, we'll see how many Titans you can kill. Yes. Wei Chou was somewhat at a loss. He also knew what it meant to arrange for people to protect him. Perhaps it was just using those untitled lesser gods to protect him as cannon fodder. But war was like this, merciless and cruel. Wars in the divine realm might be even more tragic than those in the mortal realm. This had already been proven. The gods that were high and mighty in the eyes of mortals might only be cannon fodder in a divine war. At this moment, energy suddenly surged under a peach tree. Peach blossoms began to spin, forming a graceful circle. A beam of light fell from the circle and condensed into the form of blazing angel Xian. Sister Xian. Qin Yin stood up with a smile. Xin, how are you guys? Xian asked with a smile. Good. What about you? I'm doing well too. Is everyone here? When Xian saw everyone, she hurriedly tidied up her originally elegant blazing angel cloak and said, I heard about the Titan tribe. In fact, the Titan tribe is the ancestor of our angel tribe. Have you guys come to a decision? Lin Muyu said, once Elder Tai Lan's branch starts fighting with Elder Lei Luan's branch, we will participate in the battle and help Elder Tai Lan win the Titan War. Looks like you guys are indeed planning to participate in the war. Shi Yan smiled and said, if you decide to participate in the war, the Western Divine Realm will naturally participate as well. This will save you guys from being isolated and helpless. When the time comes, you just need to give me a signal. Lin Muyu nodded and asked, Sister Xian, you should look for the Demon Emperor to discuss such a big matter between the two divine realms, not us. After all, we can't completely decide the matters of the Eastern Divine Realm. Sigh. Shi Yan sighed and didn't say anything. Qin Yin asked, what's wrong? The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor. I can't be bothered to talk to him. Not only does he blurt out vulgarities, he even flirts with me sometimes. To be honest, I think that you, Xin, and you are more suitable to be the rulers of the Eastern Divine Realm than him. Qin Yin giggled. The Demon Emperor has always been like that. You'll get used to it. All right. Shi Yan looked around and said, I'm leaving. I can't maintain my telekinesis for too long. Once the Titan War starts, you must inform me. Shi Yan turned around and disappeared. Only Lin Muyu and the others were left at the edge of the spirited mountain, drinking tea and chatting. This had almost become their daily routine. Otherwise, the divine realm would be so lonely and desolate. In the Valley of Fallen Gods, countless Mara were circling in the air. On the ground, there were piles of bonfires. The main members of the demon realm had already gathered here. A half-cooked spiritual deer was roasted on top of the bonfire. Ziyan sat at the side, lying on the grass. He played with a shining dagger in his hand. He glanced at a group of people and said, "Are all of you demon gods who have ascended from the divine realms?" "Yes, your majesty." A strong man cupped his fists and said, "My title is Demon God of Flying Flame. I am a first-tier higher deity from the 9 spiritual realm." Another thin man said, "My title is Demon God of Destruction. I am a second-tier higher deity from the Hongyu realm." The rest of the people also said, "My title is Demon God of Absolute Cloud. I am a third-tier higher deity from the spiritual insect realm. My title is Demon God of Devouring Heaven. I am a second-tier higher deity from the Ascendant realm. My title is Demon God of Thunder. I am a second-tier higher deity from the Celestial Pole continent." After the group had finished explaining, Ziyan smiled playfully. "Not bad, not bad. It seems that the demon realm's strength is increasing day by day. In the future, when we unify the 6 realms, all of you will share the prosperity with me." "Thank you, your majesty." Beside him, Holy King Baifeng said respectfully, "Your majesty, we now have a total of 27 upper demon gods, over 400 intermediate demon gods, and over 5,000 lower demon gods from various galaxies. They have now completed the integration with the demonic aura and become our brave warriors." Good. Ziyan slowly rose from his lying position and stood up straight. Demonic flames danced around him, and his aura was piercingly cold. He smiled and said, "Listen, all the upper demon gods will be conferred the title of Holy King, the intermediate demon gods will be conferred the title of Demon General, and the lower demon gods will be conferred the title of Mara Leader. I hope that all of you will do your best to fight for the demon realm in the upcoming war. Long live the demon realm. Long live your majesty." The demon gods cheered and cheered. There were many rules in the demon world, and the ranks were clearly defined. Once one became a saint ruler, it was equivalent to being below only 1 and above tens of thousands of people. They would be able to enjoy endless power and wealth. The beauties and treasures that they had captured from the mortal world would be inexhaustible. Even the authority of the demon generals and the Mara chief was astonishing. This was a glory that many people had never experienced in their entire lives. Just as the demon gods were rejoicing, a fiery red lightning suddenly flew in the sky and tore apart the Mara group. "Someone is coming." Ziyan looked up into the sky and said, "Get out of the way." Boom! A fiery red warhammer fell from the sky and smashed straight at Ziyan. Interesting. Ziyan couldn't help but laugh. Demonic flames swirled around his fist as he brought out all of his strength and fiercely punched the falling warhammer. He roared, "Get lost!" Piercingly cold air waves surged out in all directions. Immediately, a group of demon gods and demons were knocked off balance by the impact. As for the few human maids who had been standing by the side as scouts, they could not withstand the impact and were reduced to ashes amidst screams. Ziyan punched with all his might, forcefully sending the red-hot warhammer flying back. However, his opponent didn't seem to mind. In the blink of an eye, huge figures appeared in the sky. They were titans. And the one at the front was the titan leader with the fiery warhammer, the legendary elder Lei Lun. "You're Lei Lun, right?" Ziyan smiled slightly. "I've waited so long for you." Lei Lun held the warhammer, his eyes dark. "Ziyan, did you know that I would come?" "Of course." Ziyan stepped on the dark clouds and walked step by step towards Lei Lun, smiling. "We have a common enemy, so naturally, we will be together in the end. The demon world needs you, and you need the demon world. Is that right?" Lei Lun could not help but laugh out loud. He looked around and said, "Forgive me for being blunt, but the strength of the demon world is nothing to me. If I want to, the Titan army can destroy the entire demon world in a day. Do you believe me?" "Of course, why wouldn't I believe you?" Ziyan smiled. "But what about after the demon world is destroyed? At least 90% of your Titans will die. At that time, I'm afraid you won't be able to deal with just Lin Muyu and the 7 luminaries demon emperor. Moreover, there's also Shi Yen, the ultimate high god. Lei Lun, Your race only has one path, and that is to cooperate with me. We will each take what we need. I want my 6 realms, and you can destroy your beyond Avalon. What right do you have to cooperate with me? Lei Luan's aura was overbearing. Streaks of lightning appeared in the sky, and every lightning bolt was a titan. Under the pressure of the aura, many of Mara's army exploded and died. Lei Luan naturally had his reasons for being so overbearing. Indeed, 5,000 titans were enough to destroy the demon world. Ziyan's expression was calm as he smiled. It's simple. I have the god-destroying tower, the 2 heavenly kings, dozens of high gods, and millions of Mara's army. That's what I need to cooperate with you. Lei Luan smiled, then deal. Chapter 1266. Whoosh! A ray of light shot up into the sky and circled around the highest peak of the Luoyan mountain before turning into a beam of light and returning to the Taishu Gate's side hall at the foot of the mountain. Lia Xiu waved her hand and opened her palm to reveal a ball of rain. She smiled. Master, the first rain of the day. Lin Muyu stood outside the corridor and looked up at the sky. It was only after a few seconds that the raindrops splashed onto his cloak. Amazing! Wei Chou clapped. Lia's speed is indeed beyond the imagination of ordinary people. I'm afraid, even Lin General might not have such speed, right? Lin Muyu said, I really don't have such speed, but Lia is talented. You can't be satisfied with your speed. You can go even faster. The speed of light hunting is close to the speed of light. That is to say, wherever I see, you should be there. That is the direction you should be training in. Do you understand? Lia flicked the raindrops from her palm to the ground. Master, Lia understands. You can continue to ask questions. Lia can definitely do it. Don't worry, Master. You still want to test Lia? Tang Xiaoxi giggled. What an inhumane master. Qin Yin smiled. Lia is a senior apprentice sister of the Taishu Gate. It's only right to be strict. Besides, Big Brother Yu really relies on Lia. He won't spend so much effort on others. Lin Muyu clapped her hands. Lia, are you ready? Master, I'm ready. Lia stepped into the air. Her pretty face was filled with eagerness. Lin Muyu looked into the distance. Sun Feng is drinking in the attic of the Hall of Great Accomplishment. Bring me his cup and come back to me in 2 seconds. Yes. As soon as she finished, Ria disappeared from where she was, leaving only her afterimage behind. Her real body had already landed in the Hall of Great Accomplishment like a bolt of lightning. With a wave of her hand, she grabbed the wine glass that Sun Feng had just poured for her and returned to Lin Muyu's side in an instant. She raised the glass and said, Master. Return it immediately. Yes. The next moment, the cup was back in Sun Feng's hand. Sun Feng was stunned. What was that thing so fast? In 3 seconds, Sun Feng's wine cup went from being there to not being there, and then back to being there again. It was as if nothing had happened, but he could clearly feel that the breeze had entered the attic. This was something that had really happened. Master, anything else? Li asked. Lin Muyu looked into the distance. Look over there. Chu is fishing next to the heavenly lake on Mount Meru. When Chu catches a fish again, you have to get there in an instant. Get the fish before Chu gets to it. Bring it back here and let Sister Chu Yao make soup for us for dinner. Lia looked at her with wide eyes. At this time, Miue, Feng Jixing, Zhang Wei, and a group of disciples from the Great Void School had gathered around to watch Lin Muyu train her disciple. Lia was the only disciple that Lin Muyu personally trained. The rest were mostly taught by Miue, Qin Yin, and Tang Xiaoxi. Spending all her energy on one person showed how much hope Lin Muyu had for Lia. Drip, drip, drip. Raindrops fell into the heavenly lake, creating ripples. However, Chu Chu had already put on his bamboo hat as if he had foreseen this. He was still sitting on the broken piece of wood, fishing. It was as if he had already melted into the scenery. Suddenly, the float trembled a few times and quickly sank. The fish had taken the bait. Chu Chu couldn't help but smile. His strength was neither heavy nor light, and his speed was neither slow nor slow as he began to lift the rod. For a moment, A black carp that weighed at least 1 kilogram struggled in the water and left the water along with the ripples. Choo-Choo only fished to enjoy the joy of fishing. The next second, he would definitely release the fish back into the water. However, this time, he had miscalculated. Shwa! A flash of light flashed past, and the hook spun in the air. However, the fish had disappeared, and it had become an empty hook. Choo-Choo could not help but be startled. Then he saw something clearly and shouted, "Leah, little girl, do it cleanly. Don't let the fish feel too much pain. I've sinned, I've sinned. This fish died because of me." In less than 2 seconds, Leah returned to the corridor of the side hall, holding the struggling fish in her hands. She smiled and said, "Master, I've brought it." Lin Muyu smiled faintly and said, "It's not bad, but…" "Leah, look at your body." "What happened to my body?" Leah looked down and discovered that her tight-fitting dress was completely soaked by the rain. Even half of her breasts were exposed. No wonder all the male disciples were staring at her. Qin raised her hand and draped the cloak over Leah. Then she whispered in her ear, "Master is going to scold you again." Leah blushed and said, "Master, please say it." Lin Muyu said, "The light hunting technique is not only about pursuing the limit of speed, but also taking into account everything that is happening around you. You only care about speed and forget about the raindrops. Look at the rain in the sky. Each drop falls at a specific time and place. You can completely rely on your own observation to avoid all the raindrops, but you didn't. If these were not raindrops but hidden weapons, you would be finished." Leah pursed her lips and said, "Leah knows her mistake. Master, don't be angry." Lin Muyu said, "Try again. Walk forward for a mile and then return. There can't be any rain on you. This time, there is no time limit." Leah tightened the cloak and took a deep breath. Her little face was full of excitement for the challenge. Suddenly, she disappeared into the curtain of rain. No one could see her figure clearly. They could only see a shadow gliding forward in the rain. For a moment, Wei Chou, Feng Jixing, and the others held their breath. They felt that Lin Muyu was training a very terrifying person. After a few seconds, Feng Jixing said with a sharp and determined gaze, "If Leah was a thief in the mortal world, she could steal the entire Tongtian Street in one morning and no one would be able to catch her." Lin Muyu could not help but laugh. "Brother Feng, I'm not training her to steal from Tongtian Street." "Then why are you training her?" Leah has only improved her speed, not her strength. Her strength is still at the level of a first-tier lower deity. No matter how fast she is, she can't kill a superior deity of the devil realm or an expert of the level of Ziyen. "I know. I don't need her to kill anyone for now." Lin Muyu looked up at the sky full of raindrops and said, "Look at this dense rain. Doesn't it look like a swarm of winged Mara's battle formation?" Feng Jixing was quick-witted and instantly understood. "You're planning to let Leah steal the god-destroying tower?" Lin Muyu said in a deep voice, "No matter what, we have to steal the god-destroying tower in the next battle. I will use my strongest power to attack Ziyen and distract the experts of the devil realm. Then, Leah will have an opportunity. As long as Ziyen doesn't have the god-destroying tower, he has nothing to fear." At this moment, Leah had already returned. As expected, there was not a single drop of rain on her. "Master?" She was a little helpless. She seemed to have realized that she had spent too much time. Lin Muyu said, "You used a total of 17 seconds. That's too much. You have to complete this within 1 second. Otherwise, you won't be considered to have mastered the light hunting technique." Everyone was silent. They felt that Lin Muyu was too harsh on Leah. Even a god would find it hard to complete this kind of harshness. However, Leah smiled sweetly and said, "Yes, Master. I will work hard to achieve it." Among the group, only Leah agreed. This meant that there were only 2 people who believed that the limits of the body could reach this level. One was Leah, and the other was Lin Muyu. Perhaps, only those who could do it would believe in such a completely impossible thing. For almost the entire day, Leah only had a short break. The rest of the time was spent on training. Coincidentally, the rain from the heavenly realm was very cooperative. By evening, Leah had already shortened the 17 seconds to 8 seconds. However, it was still far from meeting Lin Muyu's requirements. Lin Muyu knew that Ziyan was not the rain. He was ruthless. Once Leah was discovered, she would be dead. She only had one chance. If she missed this chance where Ziyan underestimated his enemy, there would not be another chance. After nightfall, Leah stopped training. After a full meal, she went to sleep. Lin Muyu sat by the bed and looked at the sleeping Leah. She felt a little sorry for her. After a whole day of training, Leah's muscles, bones, and blood vessels were faintly red. That was the result of excessive training. Leah was gifted, and the blood vessels in her body were far more sensitive than ordinary people. However, this did not mean that she could withstand any kind of intense training. Creak! The door opened. It was Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi. Qin Yin was holding a bowl of soup in her hands. A delicious aroma wafted out of it. The soup is ready. How long has she been asleep? For hours. Lin Muyu smiled. Xiao Yin, Xiao Shi, thank you for your hard work. It's nothing. At that moment, Leah sniffed and woke up. Like a little greedy cat, she clung to the edge of the bed and smiled. Master, did the two goddesses send me something delicious? Lin Muyu nodded. Xiao Yin and Xiao Shi made a snake soup. Get up and eat it. Ah? Leah was shocked. But I have never eaten such a wriggling thing. Master, can Leah not eat it? You can't. Lin Muyu's voice became a little stricter as she said, the spirit snake's meat is filled with nutrients that nourish the blood. You've been cultivating too much and have exhausted too much of your qi and blood. You have to eat this or your body won't be able to withstand tomorrow's cultivation. Eat, I'll watch you finish eating. Yes. Leah sat up and scooped a small bowl. After a few mouthfuls, she smiled happily. Delicious. The resources in the Eternal Sword domain were scarce. When Leah was young, she had even eaten the rotten flesh of the cave demons. Compared to that, the meat of the spirit snake was no different from that of a swan. Thank you, goddesses. She was sensible. Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi were a little embarrassed. The seniority had been completely messed up by Leah. Chapter 1267. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The dark sky was lit up by beams of fiery red light. It was as though countless meteorites were falling from the sky. Balls of light wrapped in azure light shot down from the sky. Those were the travelers who had traveled here through the ancient method. They fell in groups on the spirit mountain that had been abandoned for many years in the desolate spirit world. Along with the rumbling and reverberations, the entire spirit mountain trembled. This group of travelers from afar continued to fall, and there were thousands of them. In the blink of an eye, a small half of the spirit mountain in the desolate spirit world had been smashed into a sieve. Amidst the thousands of holes, huge figures stood up one by one, and with the sound of machines turning, they looked up into the sky. There, a huge figure stood in the air, and it was Elder Tai Lan. My clansmen. Tai Lan's voice was low but decisive. Someone has betrayed us. It is Lei Lun. This traitor has betrayed the ancestors of the Titan race. He has turned his back on our words and beliefs. Now, I have brought all of you back to the divine world. Perhaps we will never be able to return to our homeland, but we firmly believe that justice will always shine. All the Titans knelt on one knee with a pious expression. Elder Tai Lan continued, conceal your auras. Don't let our opponents discover us too early. I've already found Lei Lun's coordinates. He's hidden in a valley not far away. Now, all Titans, immediately enter a state of hibernation and store up your energy. 3 days later, I'll create an insect cave that leads directly to Lei Lun's camp and deal them a fatal blow. Rest well and prepare for the battle to quell the rebellion. The Titans did not speak. All of them curled up in the huge pit that they had created. Their bodies were covered in dust. They were like a pile of rusty scrap metal, making it impossible for others to see through them. Valley of Fallen Gods. All the Titans were hidden in the forest and quietly in a deep sleep. The Demon World army was still circling in the sky, acting as the outer layer of protection. Ziyan didn't sleep. He hadn't closed his eyes for at least 2 months. He couldn't sleep, and he wasn't willing to sleep. Once he slept, he might lose the god-destroying tower and everything else. Although he was strong in the demon realm, deep in his heart, he was still the Ziyan who felt inferior and was afraid of losing his powers. Nothing had changed. Bai Feng stood at the side, looking a little uneasy.
What?
Did you sense something? Ziyan glanced at her. Bai Feng pursed her lips and said, I'm just feeling a little restless in my heart. Ziyan glanced at Lei Lun, who was 100 meters away, and said, Lei Lun said that as long as Elder Tai Lan's tribe enters the immortal realm, he will definitely sense it. Therefore, we don't have to worry about the Titan tribe. Even if we have to fight, we will only be supporting them. There is no need to fight the Titans head-on. Yes, I understand, Your Majesty. You know nothing. Just then, the winged Mara in the air suddenly started to make loud cackling noises. What's with all the noise in the middle of the night? Ziyan roared angrily, but the winged Mara were still yelling anxiously. They did not change at all because of Ziyan's anger. Swish, swish, streaks of faint golden light appeared in the air. It was as if a galaxy had suddenly appeared in the sky. This was a power that was completely different from the 6 realms. It was fundamentally different. There are guests. Ziyan held onto the god-destroying pagoda and slowly flew up. Not far away, Lei Lun had also woken up. He led a group of titans and flew up into the sky, surrounding the streaks of light in the center. ZZ, the golden lightning started to interweave, and in the blink of an eye, it formed a human figure. It was a man in a red cloak and had a long beard. His cheekbones and nose bridge were very high, and his eyes were azure blue. His entire body was enshrouded with an overwhelming power that made people unable to get close to him. It was as if he could destroy the earth with a flick of his finger. Especially his eyes, they were filled with arrogance and disdain. Who are you? Ziyan asked indifferently. Lei Lun gripped his fiery red warhammer tightly and did not say a word. However, it was obvious that if the other party's answer was not satisfactory, he would attack at any time. The newcomer's eyes were cold and arrogant. He said indifferently, one of the 12 elephant gods of outer heaven, Elios. Are you the legendary master of the demon realm, the extremely powerful Ziyan? That's right. You don't look like much. Elios laughed in disdain. Ziyan gritted his teeth. Elios looked at Lei Lun and could not help but reveal a look of pity. He said, I didn't expect the powerful titans to fall to such a pitiful state. Look at your pitiful bodies wrapped in steel. How can you be so cowardly? This is really unexpected. Lei Lun said coldly, What are you trying to say? You are a lackey of Olympus. I am a lackey. Elios could not help but laugh out loud. You 2 idiots are still hiding here and enjoying the peace and quiet. Don't you know that Tyron's army has arrived? They will open a wormhole and attack you at any time. Their power can kill almost 3,000 titans in an instant. Lei Lun, you idiot, do you really think that victory is in your hands? What? Impossible. Lei Lun was shocked. If Tyron had come, I would have sensed it long ago. Sensed it? You have no idea that Tyron has already activated a new barrier. They have concealed everything. You will not be able to sense their whereabouts with your sense of smell, Elios said indifferently. Elios calmly said, No wonder Tyron is the new leader of the Titan tribe, and not a simple-minded, muscular idiot like you leading the entire tribe. What are you trying to do? Lei Lun said coldly. You are the archenemy of the Titans and the main god of outer heaven. Are you not worried that we will kill you here? Hee, I believe that you will not. You will not reject a powerful guide. What do you mean? Ziyan asked. Elios said, With the bodies of the Titans, do you think you can penetrate more than 3,000 realm walls and reach outer heaven? Without my guidance, you will not have the chance to reach outer heaven, let alone take revenge. Lei Lun could not help but laugh. I thought that a powerful main god had come. So it is just a shameless traitor of outer heaven. Ha, idiot, do you think that I am the only one on my side? Aelios said calmly. I can help you take revenge and overthrow Zeus and Panga's rule in outer heaven. But you must agree to one condition. What condition? Let me take charge of the new outer heaven. Deal. Lei Luan sneered. If you are willing to have a destroyed outer heaven, then deal. A greedy flame appeared in Aelios' eyes. He smiled and said, Deal. I've had enough of those gods pointing fingers at me. Even if it's destruction, that's all I'm after. Now, awaken all of you. I will open up a tunnel to the desolate spirit world mountain for you. Bring your army and kill your way there. Destroy the tyrant tribe's branch and make the entire Titan tribe work for you. Lei Luan seemed excited. He raised his war hammer and laughed. Get up, prepare for war. Ziyan said calmly, Holy King Baifeng, gather the army and prepare for war. Not long after, Aelios stood in the air and let out a roar. His body was covered in golden light and shot into the sky. He crossed his palms as if he was chanting some kind of cryptic spell. Invisible energy rose in the surroundings. Suddenly, the starlight in front of him shone brightly. A spatial tunnel was blasted open. Aelios' eyes were shining with golden light. He shouted, What are you waiting for? Take your most trusted warriors and attack. Lei Luan let out a furious roar as he charged into the starry sky tunnel, dragging his war hammer behind him. Countless titans followed behind him, and the devils in the sky also surged into the starry sky tunnel. For a moment, the sky of the desolate spirit world was a mess. Fireballs fell to the ground and collided with the sleeping titans of Elder Tyrant's branch. The ground trembled and the entire desolate spirit world seemed like it was about to collapse. Damn, these despicable beasts! Elder Tyrant raised his metal staff. He woke up from his slumber and slammed it into the ground. Amidst the sounds of metal clashing, all the slumbering titans were jolted awake. Elder Tai Lan's angry and melodious voice rang out, For our race and beliefs, fight. Kill all traitors and enemies. 2 hours ago, Luo Yen Mountain. Chu Yao suddenly awoke from her dream. Her eyes were covered in a layer of golden light. It was as if she could see some intermittent scenes. Those were all scenes that were about to happen. Chu Yao's voice became sharp. Whoosh! Lin Muyu, who was still in her pajamas, broke through the void and appeared next to Chu Yao. She held her shoulder. Sister Chu Yao, what did you see? Desolate spirit world. Desolate spirit world. Elder Tyrant's tribe was ambushed. Quick, are you sure it's the desolate spirit world? Got it? Rest for a while. Lin Muyu disappeared in a flash once again. Her figure appeared in the sky above Mount Dashang. She raised her right fist, and blood-red lightning surged. She suddenly punched the air, and with a bang, her divine power shook the entire eastern celestial realm. She shouted, Gather! In less than 3 minutes, almost all the gods of the Eastern Divine Realm had appeared in the plaza in front of the Hall of Great Accomplishment. Under the leadership of the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor and Lin Muyu, they quickly flew toward the desolate spirit world. No one knew how early Chu Yao's prophecy had come true. However, the sooner they reached the desolate spirit world, the more they could save the Titans. If the Titans were exterminated, the future of the 4 divine realms would not be easy. At the same time, Xian also received Qin Yin's message. She brought hundreds of angels from the Western Divine Realm to reinforce the desolate spirit world. Chapter 1268. In the desolate spirit world, there were thunderous booms everywhere. The battle between the 2 Titan branches could almost be described as earth-shattering. Beams of spiritual power surged between the heavens and the earth. Even the demon world's Mara army could not intervene at all. They could only be killed. Woo-woo! Amidst the loud sound of steam, a Titan was swept into the sky by countless winged Mara. He tried to shake his arms, but it was of no use. However, just as a group of winged Mara was feeling smug, the carapace on the Titan's head suddenly bloomed. Suddenly, a ball of flames soared into the sky, burning the Mara into ashes. Its huge body also broke free from Mara's control. It waved a battle axe and charged toward the ground. What a powerful titan! With the god-destroying pagoda in hand, Ziyan's figure changed in the air. His palm was filled with demonic flames, and he struck the titan's back fiercely. Instantly, the fiery red palm print melted the armor on the titan's back, but it could not melt the special shield inside. The shield was like a wave of water, completely eliminating the power of Ziyan's palm. Woo woo! Amidst the mechanical sound, the titan suddenly turned around, and the battle axe turned into a bolt of lightning and slashed toward Ziyan. In an instant, there was no way for Ziyan to dodge. He raised his palm and condensed a shield. Pang! The demonic flame's light surged. The titan's attack was powerful, and it actually blasted Ziyan away by more than 100 meters. Your Majesty, are you all right? Bai Feng led a group of demon generals and rushed over. He pulled out his sword and said, "Go, kill this titan. Attack together." Wait. However, Ziyan had a playful look on his face. He smiled and said, "I'm just playing with this titan. Don't interfere. He's mine. Watch how I cut him into pieces." As he said that, Ziyan rushed forward again. This time, his aura was even stronger, carrying the might of the demon realm. An invisible airwave crushed down. Before he could even reach the titan, the mecha in front of the titan's chest continuously exploded. It was actually unable to withstand Ziyan's domain and exploded. However, a centipede would not fall down even if it died. The strength of the titan lay in its extremely strong vitality. Its body was almost in ruins, but it still raised its battle axe fiercely and threw it out. Immediately, the huge battle axe turned into a bolt of lightning and went straight for Ziyan's face. Melt for me. Ziyan continued to move forward. A ball of devil flames appeared in front of him, burning his battle axe red. In the blink of an eye, it turned into molten iron that filled the sky. As expected, in terms of absolute power, he could easily kill a titan with medium strength even without using the god-destroying tower. Boom! They collided head-on. An azure heart appeared in Ziyan's hand. It was the titan's heart. In the sky, the titan lost its energy source and fell into the darkness of the ground with a miserable cry. However, Ziyan activated the firepower in his palm and burned the heart until nothing was left. He said, "Order the Mara army to continue attacking. Don't give Elder Tai Lan's branch any chance to take a breather." "Yes, Your Majesty." In the sky, countless Mara soldiers charged towards the ground like rain. There, pools of flames soared into the sky. There were titans fighting and killing each other everywhere. Boom! Metal staff against Warhammer. Tai Lan against Lei Lun. The fiery red metal staff forcefully swept away the Warhammer. Tai Lan roared in anger and kicked Lei Lun's abdomen heavily. In terms of battle prowess, Lei Lun, the leader of the branch, was no match for Tai Lan. However, Lei Lun had a helper this time. Just as Tai Lan kicked Lei Lun away, a golden light flickered in the sky. An unparalleled expert descended from the sky. His palms were filled with profound energy and he slammed them onto Elder Tai Lan's head. Yua! Elder Tai Lan let out a long howl towards the sky. Blood-red liquid spurted out from his mouth and nose. His body was still trembling, but he did not collapse. Instead, he raised his metal staff and swept it across the sky. His divine energy turned into a surface, as though he was spreading out a huge net to hunt down the attacker. However, how could Aelios be hunted down so easily? He clenched his palms into fists and bent his body slightly in the air. His entire body was like a taut bowstring as he suddenly flew forward. With a biting cold profound energy, he directly broke through Tai Lan's blockade. While he was in the air, he turned around and unleashed a combination of punches from a distance. Almost all of the punches landed on Tai Lan's body, causing the defensive energy on the surface of Elder Tai Lan's body to be on the verge of collapsing.
What?
With a low roar, Elder Tai Lan opened his palms, and roaring flames baptized Aelios in the air. Aelios had no choice but to convert his divine energy into a shield and forcefully block Elder Tai Lan's attack in the air. Through the light screen, one could see that Aelios' forehead was filled with veins. Evidently, even the gods of the sky beyond Avalon might not be Elder Tai Lan's match. For you, Tai Lan shouted in a low voice, the power of the law that you are using does not belong to this world. Who exactly are you? Aelios crossed his arms in front of his chest to block the invasion of the flames. He chuckled and said, Old man, if you still have normal intelligence, shouldn't you have already guessed it? If I do not belong to this world, then I belong to another world. The world where the Olympian gods are. Have you already forgotten about it? You scum. Elder Tai Lan seemed to have sensed something and shouted in a low voice, Even though we, the Titans, are eternal enemies with the Olympians, we will not betray our own race. It seems like you and Lei Luan are the same kind of people. For status and power, you would rather betray your own race. They are not my race, and they have never treated me as one, Aelio sneered. On the other hand, you pitiful old thing. The Titan race has already been suppressed to a corner of the world. Instead of thinking about your race, you still want to follow the order of the world. People like you are not fit to be the leader of the Titan race. Come, let me end your life and let a suitable person be the leader of the Titan race. Elder Tai Lan roared in anger, but he was already powerless. Aelios was gradually escaping from the range of the spiritual flames. In the sky, a figure swooped down and slammed heavily into Aelios' body, crushing him into the mountain. It was a Titan warrior from the Tyrannosaurus branch, but he was no match for Aelios. In the blink of an eye, there was a rumbling explosion from within the mountain, and the Titan's broken limbs flew into the air. It was a tragic sight to behold. Elder Tai Lan looked at the ground with a gloomy expression. He lightly hit the ground with his iron staff, and suddenly, a wave of energy spread along the ground. He said in a low voice, Warriors of the Titan race, Lei Luan has betrayed our race. He colluded with the traitors of Olympus to kill our people. Fight to the last man, and let the world know the endless courage of the Titan race. We will never surrender, and we will only fight until the day our race is exterminated. Roar, one by one, the Titans roared, and the sound of battle became more and more deafening. In the air, the flying Mara was everywhere like a fly. A group of holy king and demon generals surrounded the Titans and attacked them fiercely. As the saying went, many ants could bite an elephant to death. As the battle continued, the Titans fell one after another. Swoosh! The green flames in the sky were reflected in Elder Tai Lan's blue eyes. He looked at his people falling one after another, and his expression was indescribably sorrowful. Not far away, Lei Luan and dozens of Titans, as well as Aelios in the air, were staring at him and the hundreds of guards behind him. These Titan guards were the most elite warriors of the race. If they died in battle, the last hope of the Titan race would vanish together with them. Warriors, Elder Tai Lan pointed his iron staff forward, and his voice trembled as he roared. However, at this moment, a golden light descended from the sky. His palm was filled with the golden red power of the Ao sword technique. He raised his hand and launched an invisible attack. Heaven and earth, listen to my command. Bang! A large group of demon generals and titans were crushed into the rock stratum by the sword intent and the invisible elephant. The rumbling sound was endless, and many demon generals even died just like that. That person was dressed in majestic armor, and the cloak that belonged to an upright god fluttered in the wind. His figure was extremely handsome and very familiar. Elder Tai Lan? Lin Muyu turned around and said, We're here. Do you want to fight alongside the divine realm? Behind him, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, the seven luminaries demon emperor, Ziyao, Feng Jixing, and the others, wrapped in golden light, landed on the ground one after another. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of upright gods had landed in the valley. In addition, there were many gods rushing over with awe-inspiring aura. In the blink of an eye, the valley that was filled with violence and demonic aura was filled with a tranquil and peaceful Mahayana heavenly Tao aura. Elder Tai Lan leaned on his iron staff and muttered, It's the martial god. I'm sorry, please forgive my race's arrogance in the past. I, Tai Lan, represent the entire Titan race and promise to fight alongside you. Lin Muyu nodded heavily, and the Shenyuan sword in her hand shone brightly. She turned to look at Mara and the titans in the valley and said, "Let's fight." Figures flew over. Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi had already joined the battle at the first instance. Their main mission was to assist the titans of the tyrant race to defeat the opposing titans. Moreover, it was very easy to tell them apart. The titans of the tyrant race maintained their original nature, and their eyes were azure blue. However, the Thunder Luan race had already fallen into the heavenly Tao of massacre, and their eyes were already blood red. For you, the 7 luminaries demon emperor raised his head and looked at Aelios, who was in the sky. Aelios also looked at the 7 luminaries demon emperor and felt the monstrous power of the 7 luminaries demon emperor. He said, "I'm Aelios, one of the 12 elephant gods of the realm beyond Avalon. For you." The 7 luminaries demon emperor chuckled, and the Pangu axe in his hands spun rapidly. He said, "So you're just a god that does odd jobs in the realm beyond Avalon. I was wondering who you were." "Heh, who exactly are you? Why are you speaking so rudely?" "I'm the godly king of the 6 realms, and I'll definitely be a king in the realm beyond Avalon. Remember my name, The 7 luminaries demon emperor raised his Pangu axe in the air, and his aura filled the sky. However, he suddenly stopped, and his brows furrowed tightly. His eyes were filled with seriousness. "What's my name again?" "Motherf asterisk Kerr. The damn author forgot to give me a proper name from the start." "Then I'll call you Grandpa. Take a hit from your grandpa's axe first." Chapter 1269. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The light of the Shenyuan sword was unusually blazing. Lin Muyu looked at the thousands of Mara in the air with a murderous intent. She raised her hand and struck lightly. Suddenly, the sword essence of the AO sword technique swept across the air like a golden flood. How could the Mara still attack? Even Bai Feng Holy King could not help but retreat to avoid the power of the AO sword technique. Lin Muyu's voice condensed into a thread and said to Ria, who was not far behind her, "According to the plan, I will attract Ziyan's attention. Ria, you steal the god's destroying tower. Remember, run when you succeed. Even if you can't, I will cover you." "Got it, master." Ria was like a shadow that flickered in the wind. Her speed had reached the extreme. Lin Muyu stepped on the flames and walked toward Ziyan and the others. Her eyes stopped on a group of demon gods on the left. There were many superior deities and intermediate deities. She could not help but laugh. "Are you the demon gods who ascended from the 6 realms?" Everyone looked at the martial god whom they had never seen before and did not dare to be negligent. One of the superior demon gods said, "Yes, what do you want?" "Nothing much. Subduing demons." "You are demons, so you have to be killed." Lin Muyu suddenly stepped heavily in the void. Suddenly, time and space seemed to freeze with a bang. The group of demon gods could not move. Lin Muyu's right hand slowly opened. The full power of the AO sword technique and the full power of the holy martial arts were released. With a roar, thousands of swords flew and rushed towards the group of demon gods like a river. The screams were endless. The intermediate deities and lower deities with weaker cultivation were directly killed by the sword essence. The stronger superior deities relied on the demon flame shield to hold on a little, but how long could they last? "Lin Muyu!" Ziyan roared. When he was about to attack, Lin Muyu turned around and looked at him. She raised her right arm gently, and when it fell, it was a full power of the AO sword technique. While Ziyan was in a daze, countless Mara, devil generals, and Holy King rushed over and shouted, "Kill the martial god and protect his majesty, ancestor emperor." However, in the midst of the demon horde, a graceful figure flashed past like lightning. Ria's speed was so fast that everything in her eyes seemed to slow down. With the full activation of light hunting, she had turned into a beam of light as she passed through the Holy King and the demon generals. When she came before Ziyan, she realized that the king of the demon realm was actually quite handsome. His eyes were blue, and his nose was tall and big. Even the hair on his nose made him look handsome. Looking up at Ziyan's face, Ria raised her hand and punched Ziyan's chin. "Pa!" Ziyan gradually raised his head. At the same time, his hand loosened a little. Rhea quickly grabbed the god-destroying tower and used all her strength to snatch it from Ziyan's hand. Ah, it's so hot. The god-destroying tower was filled with demonic flames, so it was naturally very hot. Rhea endured the pain of her palm being burned and rushed back as if she was holding a stove. She shouted, "Master, save me." When Ziyan came back to his senses, his hand was already empty. He only saw the figure of a young girl running away. He suddenly flew into a rage out of humiliation and roared, "Steal my god-destroying tower? You're courting death." Just at the moment when Ziyan rushed over, there was a loud explosion in front of him. Dozens of devil generals were instantly crushed. The golden light surged. It was Lin Muyu. Lin Muyu was covered with the power of the AO sword tactics. "Rhea, give it to me." He turned around and took the god-destroying tower from Rhea's hand. He aimed the bottom of the tower at Ziyan and shouted, "God-destroying tower, destroy him for me." In an instant, the air froze. The number 1 artifact of the Devil Realm was used to kill the king of the Devil Realm. Who could believe it? However, the god-destroying tower was only howling with demonic flames. There was no movement at all. Not even a flame was spat out, let alone a beam of light to kill Ziyan. Ziyan's tears were about to fall. "Lin Muyu, you idiot. Only the demonic aura of the Devil Realm can activate the god-destroying tower. You are a Mahayana Heaven Dao's main god. If even you can use the god-destroying tower, can this god-destroying tower still be the number 1 artifact of the Devil Realm?" Lin Muyu's eyes became cold. She was angry. Swish. The god-destroying tower that Rhea had painstakingly retrieved was thrown into the air to Ziyan. She said, "Since I am useless, I will return it to you. Take it." "What?" Ziyan was so astonished that he almost spat out his tongue. How could there be such a good thing in this world? The god-destroying tower could actually be recovered? In an instant, Ziyan opened up his arms. It was as though he had seen his long-lost girlfriend. His face was filled with an intoxicated expression. He opened up his arms and his body was like the wind. He embraced nature and his entire body became slow motion. However, just as Ziyan was in slow motion, there was a sudden clang. A golden light sliced out from the center of the god-destroying tower. It was the Xianyuan sword. The god-destroying tower was split into 2. Without the protection of the demonic flames, the god-destroying tower naturally couldn't block the Xianyuan sword that Lin Muyu was holding. Not only that, Lin Muyu's sword skills were incomparably sharp. She swung her sword more than 10 times in the air. She completed this series of actions in almost a second. Golden lines interweaved together and formed a very beautiful picture. Under the division of this picture, the god-destroying tower became even more pieces. There were so many that it was impossible to count. The pieces of the tower started to burn. The number 1 artifact of the Devil Realm was finally destroyed. Ziyan's tears were about to come out. He felt as though he had suffered a ton of soul attacks. He stood in the wind in a daze and muttered, "Why did you do this? Why?" Lin Muyu didn't say anything. She raised her sword and exerted strength in her feet. She rushed over at lightning speed and slashed with the Xianyuan sword. Kacha! The sword landed on a rusty steel arm. It was a titan who saved Ziyan's life. "Ziyan, are you crazy?" Lei Lun shouted from afar. "Have you forgotten that you are the master of the Devil Realm? Attack, command your men to attack. We still have the absolute advantage." Ziyan still looked at the god-destroying tower floating in the air. It was as though he had seen his beloved toy being crushed. His tears flowed down uncontrollably. The god-destroying tower is gone. What else can the Devil Realm use to participate in the battle? Retreat, return to the Devil Realm. Ancestor Emperor? Bai Feng was stunned. The group of superior demon gods also stood there dumbfounded. "Didn't you hear my orders?" Ziyan looked up at Bai Feng. Bai Feng's silver teeth shouted, "Retreat, return. Demon Realm." Her voice reverberated in the air, and in the blink of an eye, it caused the Devil Realm's army to be routed. Like rain, they were sent flying back into the sky. Those devil luos and devil generals probably wanted to return to the devil realm long ago. At the very least, they wouldn't be killed in the devil realm. However, in the immortal realm, the enemies they had to face were top-tier powerhouses like the martial god, mad god, and moon goddess. They wouldn't even be able to touch a strand of their hair before being slaughtered. This bunch of cowards, they ran away. Lei Luan roared. The devil realm had a direction to retreat to. They still had their homes. But Lei Luan's Titan branch was gone. Their whereabouts had been exposed. They could only fight. In the sky, beams of light flew over. The gods of the Western Divine Realm had arrived. Buzz! Shi Yan's sword light was bitingly cold as she descended from the sky and smashed a Titan into smithereens. This could be considered a greeting gift. Looking at the mountain range, the gods of the Eastern Divine Realm and the Titans were engaged in a fierce battle. In fact, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, Feng Jixing and the others were already feeling extremely pressured if they had to fight 1 against 2 or 3. Elder Tai Lan's clan had lost too many Titans. There were less than 1,000 of them left. On the other hand, Lei Luan still had close to 3,000 Titan warriors. He still had the upper hand. Lin Muyu spread her arms, and the power of the holy martial covered the entire mountain range. She said to the sky, "Sister Xian, hit the red-eyed Titans. Don't hit the wrong ones. Hurry up and help." "Got it. I can feel the evil aura on them." Shi Yan was a seraph. Distinguishing between good and evil was a piece of cake for her. With the addition of the battle angels, the battle between the two sides returned to a balanced state. Lin Muyu didn't fight a Titan alone. Instead, she moved through the crowd and used the sharpness of the Shenyuan sword to launch sneak attacks. She killed 1 Titan with each strike. Not long after, the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor appeared in the sky. His cloak was stained with blood. "Demon Emperor, are you injured?" Xiao asked. "It's the blood of that idiot Alios." The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor waved his cloak and said, "That useless Alios has already escaped to the sky beyond heaven. Let's continue and quickly finish the battle here."
But
the fierce battle lasted for almost an entire day. When the sun set on the second day, there were less than 2,000 Titan warriors under Lei Luan's command. However, it was still a lot more than Elder Tai Lan's branch. The celestial realm had also paid a heavy price. Both the eastern and western celestial realms had lost many righteous gods. There were even a few intermediate gods who had fallen in the fierce battle. In the sky, a cold aura attacked. Dozens of gods descended from the sky. The one leading them was the divine king of the northern heaven realm, Dong Ming. Wherever Dong Ming passed, everything was covered with a layer of frost. This god Dong really lived up to his name. 7 luminaries Demon Emperor, you seem to be injured? Dong Ming started to taunt him the moment he arrived. "No, it's someone else's blood." The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor mocked back. "Yo, the northern heaven realm came just in time. Dong Ming, are you here to help us clean up the battlefield?" "Who said that? Did you think it was easy for us to come all the way here? You didn't even send a single signal to the northern heaven realm. Are you looking down on us allies? It's nothing. Here, there are still hundreds of evil Titans in the valley. Bring your men to help."
But
"Oh, damn, why are these Titans so powerful?" "The gods." Chapter 1270. Amidst the rumbling of thunder, a huge space tunnel appeared in front of them. Lei Luan led the Titans to flee, leaving behind thousands of Titan corpses. This battle could be said to be a crushing defeat. 5,000 Titans had fought against 3,000, but they had still lost so completely. After this battle, the Lei Luan tribe's strength was far from what it used to be. In the valley, figures gradually rose. They were the gods of the Mahayana heavenly Tao. Many of them were carrying the corpses of their companions. The losses in this battle could not be underestimated. How many of us died? The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor carried the blood-stained Pangu axe. His face had a few cuts from the Titan's blades, and he looked slightly haggard and exhausted. Feng Jixing specialized in combat. After evaporating the blood on his blades, he quickly sheathed them and said, 21 untitled gods and 7 middle gods perished, including the god of tides, ancient Han, and the god of contracts, flowing Kuei. So many people. The 7 luminaries demon emperor frowned and said, take their bodies back to the eastern divine realm and bury them. You, go ask the Titans what they plan to do next. If they are willing, we will give them a few spirit mountains to recuperate. Lin Muyu raised her hand and returned the Xinyuan sword to its sheath. She glided down and landed in front of Elder Tai Lan and the other Titan warriors. She said respectfully, Elder Tai Lan. Tyron held onto his blood-stained metal staff, and his gaze was deep. He said in a trembling voice, Martial God, thank you for your help. Otherwise, today would have been the day of our Titan tribe's destruction. They have changed. Lei Luan and the others have completely fallen. Now they are demons. They are no longer the Titan gods that protect the earth. Too much desire will naturally cause one to fall into the abyss. Lin Muyu said, what do you plan to do after this? After this battle, the sky beyond Avalon, the Devil Realm, and Lei Luan will definitely not let us off. If we are united, we will be strong, and if we are divided, we will be weak. If Elder Tai Lan is willing, the Eastern God Realm is willing to allocate a few spirit mountains for the Titan clan to rest and recuperate. The Eastern God Realm is rich in spiritual energy, and your injured Titan clan will be able to recover very quickly. You can even cultivate in the Eastern God Realm. Elder Tai Lan looked deeply at Lin Muyu and asked, can the Titan race trust the martial god? Lin Muyu smiled and spread her hands. We'll fight side by side and live and die together. What do you think? I saw it, Elder Tai Lan said unhurriedly. I've seen many gods die in battle for our race. They are still very young, and many of them are just children. Since ancient times, good and evil have never coexisted, and the deity realm still represents justice in the world. As for our Titan race, we are merely the losers and exiled. We no longer have the qualifications to be ranked in the deity realm. No. Lin Muyu shook her head and smiled. The current ruler of the deity realm is us. If we say that the Titan race has it, then it does. I've seen the Titans' bravery and fearlessness in this battle. All of you believe in the righteous path and are firm in your beliefs. The Titan race definitely shouldn't be exiled. As long as Elder is willing, the door to the Eastern deity realm will always be open to you. Elder Tai Lan's azure eyes flickered a few times. After a long period of silence, his trembling body suddenly knelt down and placed his metal staff horizontally on the ground in front of him. He said, the Titan race is willing to join the Eastern deity realm and is willing to fight for the righteous path. I beg the martial god to take us in. Lin Muyu was a little moved. She flew down and held Elder Tai Lan's huge arm. She said sincerely, Elder, you don't have to be so polite. You're already a branch of the Eastern deity realm. I'll give you the spirit mountain with the most vigorous spiritual energy. Yes, Tai Lan raised his head and said, Can we move the Void Realm's hangar to the deity realm? This is the foundation of your survival. Of course you can. Thank you, martial god. The group of Titans knelt down one after another. The rumbling of the mechs was continuous. There were less than 1,000 Titans left, but it was enough. They were already a very strong force. With the addition of Tai Lan's branch, the overall strength of the Eastern deity realm had also greatly increased. At the very least, the Devil Realm was no longer qualified to covet the rule of the Eastern Divine Realm. If Ziyan really came, it would probably be difficult for him to return alive. There were too many people who wanted his life. 3 days later, nearly 1,000 Titans moved to the Eastern deity realm. Their residence was less than 100 miles away from Mount Dashang. This allowed Mount Dashang, Luoyan Mountain, and the Titan tribe to form a triangle. At that time, the Eastern deity realm was naturally at its peak. None of the 4 major divine realms could contend against it. At night, there was a banquet on Mount Dashang. Nearly 100 gods from the Western Divine Realm, Southern Divine Realm, and Northern Divine Realm were invited to participate. No one knew what the 7 luminaries demon emperor was up to. In any case, Shi Yan, Eva, Dong Ming, Terralin, and the others had all fallen. There was also a group of gloomy gods from the southern divine realm. They cultivated the law of darkness and seemed to always have a gloomy expression. At the banquet, Qin Yin and Terralin chatted, while Shi Yan asked Lin Muyu for advice on the profound meaning of the proud sword art. The 7 luminaries demon emperor and Dong Ming bragged, and the atmosphere was very harmonious. After 3 rounds of wine and 5 different dishes, a god from the southern god realm stood up. It was Thunder God Luo Wen, one of the few experts in the southern god realm. He bowed and said, 7 luminaries monarch, may I ask what kind of important matter the eastern god realm has invited us to discuss? The 7 luminaries demon emperor smiled slightly. Thunder God is in such a hurry? I was planning to announce it after the banquet. Since Thunder God has asked, it doesn't matter if I say it in advance. As he said this, he stood up majestically and said, as everyone knows, the tens of millions of troops of the Devil Realm have been attacking the God Realm for a long time. However, in the battle of the Desolate Spirit Realm 3 days ago, the Devil Realm was defeated and fled. Even Ziyan's God-destroying tower was destroyed by our martial god Linmuyu. The Devil Realm is now in decline, but there is still a force. The Thunderluan clan still has nearly 2,000 titans. They are destroying spirit mountains everywhere to obtain spirit energy to strengthen themselves. Luo Wen smiled. We have all heard about the battle of the Desolate Spirit Realm. However, it seems like the 7 luminaries demon emperor is taking credit for the Eastern deity realm. We all know how strong the Eastern deity realm is, but, under the Mahayana heavenly law, all the gods are equal. Even if the emperor wants to take credit, I'm afraid it won't be of any use, right? The 7 brilliance demon monarch could not help but let out a laugh. The southern celestial world has been laying low all this time. You never even participated in the battles against the demon world. Your bones were so soft when you were in Ziyan's god-destroying tower, but why are your bones so tough when you're in my Mount Great Accomplishment? You, the southern god realm gods beside Luo Wen revealed expressions of anger. They almost slammed the table and stood up. The 7 luminaries demon emperor continued, don't worry, Thunder God. I didn't invite you to this banquet to take credit. I just want to tell you that something has happened to the sky beyond heaven. The sky beyond heaven? Luo Wen said indifferently, isn't the sky beyond heaven guarded by Ancestor Pangu? What could possibly happen to it? The 7 luminaries demon emperor frowned and said, Ancestor Pangu isn't omnipotent, and the sky beyond heaven is very complicated. The Eastern god is one of them, the gods of Olympus are another, and there are also some ancient ancestor gods and dragon martial gods. There are at least 10 forces in the sky beyond heaven, and the strongest among them is Olympus. As far as I know, there's already a traitor in Olympus. What do you mean? The meaning is clear. Once Olympus is controlled, the gods of the sky beyond heaven will lose their position. This is no longer just a war between the 6 realms, but a large-scale war between good and evil. Luo Wen smiled. War between good and evil? Aren't you exaggerating a little too much? The gods of the sky beyond heaven have ascended for a long time, and their power and status are already deeply rooted. How can they be shaken by 1 or 2 traitors? What if this traitor brings 2,000 Titan giants to the war? The 7 luminaries demon emperor raised his eyebrows and said, we all know how strong the Titan giants are. That Lei Luan destroyed countless spirit mountains to absorb spirit energy for his own use, and his strength is close to that of the ancestor of the sky beyond heaven. Once these 2,000 Titan giants join the war, I'm afraid the balance in the sky beyond heaven will be broken immediately. When that happens, it will be too late. Forget your puny southern god realm, even the 6 realms might not be able to protect themselves. That's why we feel that the 4 realms should form an even tighter alliance and unite as one. Finally, a middle god from the southern god realm slammed the table and stood up angrily. 7 luminaries demon emperor, don't you think you're going too far? We know that the eastern god realm is the strongest, but that doesn't mean you're above us. We, the southern god realm, have always advocated equality, We will never be enslaved by you. The 7 luminaries demon emperor also had a bad temper. He pointed a finger at them and said, "Fuck your southern god realm, what are you being so arrogant for? I'm already giving you face by inviting you to the alliance, yet you cowardly gods are still clamoring for equality here? I can destroy your entire southern god realm by myself. Do I have to do that? Tui, I'm giving you face, but you don't want it. I only mentioned the alliance, I never said I would be your alliance leader. What are you yelling about?" Shi Yan couldn't help but smile. She said, "It looks like the alliance is not going to work." Lin Muyu frowned and said, "Why is the southern god realm against it so fiercely?" Eva laughed softly. "It's simple. The southern god realm is the weakest of the 4 god realms, even weaker than the northern heaven realm. Once the alliance is formed, their status will drop further and further. They definitely won't be able to maintain their current equal status as the 4 god realms. That's why they aren't willing to unite. But in my opinion, Thunder God Luo Wen is most likely behind this. He's the mastermind behind this." Dong Ming laughed loudly. 7 luminaries demon emperor, you're the divine king, so don't say such vulgar words." The 7 luminaries demon emperor glared at him, then pointed at the 20 or so southern god realm gods and said, "Once the realm beyond heaven falls into chaos, it will be a catastrophe. No matter which side the realm beyond heaven attacks, we won't be able to stop them. It's up to the southern god realm to decide whether to join the alliance or not, but you'll have to bear the consequences." The thunder god stood up and grabbed a spear beside him. He smiled faintly. "In that case, the southern god realm will bid farewell. Take care." "Farewell." In the blink of an eye, the people of the southern god realm took to the skies and left Mount Dashang. The 7 luminaries demon emperor sucked in a deep breath and held his knees. He was so angry that his entire body was trembling. He said, "They had good intentions, but they messed it up. I'm so angry. Do you think I would covet the position of alliance leader?" Chapter 1271. Above the golden ruins, the sky origin. One after another, giant-like titans soared into the sky. At the very front, there was only a small figure. He held a ball of azure energy in his hand and continued to advance. However, the star river of the sky origin was turbulent. Huge rocks covered the sky and covered the earth. However, they were all smashed into pieces when they collided with the energy ball in the man's hand. Among the titans, Lei Luan raised his fire hammer and said in a low voice, "This is the legendary star river origin?" "That's right." Alios, who was charging at the very front, said, "This is the end of the star universe. In the past, countless gods with exceedingly high cultivation comprehended the mysteries of the universe from here and opened up a completely different world." "What is it?" "You'll know very soon." Sweat seeped out of Alios's face, and even his veins were bulging. He raised the energy vortex in his hand and continuously attacked the giant rocks in the universe. Finally, with a crash, he reached the end of the vortex. The messy rocks disappeared without a trace, and what appeared in front of him was an extremely barren world. There was nothing but emptiness and only flat ground. Nothing else could be seen. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. One by one, the titans followed Alios into this new world. Lei Luan's tone was somewhat angry. He said, "Alios, what is the meaning of this? Didn't you bring us to the sky beyond Avalon? Why is there no sky beyond Avalon here, only a barren world?" "This is the sky beyond Avalon." Alios frowned and said, "The divine mountain of the past is right under our feet. It has become a barren land. Let's go. We don't have much time. If we don't speed up, we might not make it in time." "Why did you bring us here? This is not the sky beyond Avalon." "Elder Lei Luan, you'll know very soon." Alios flew along a low mountain range. Alios glanced at his clansmen, then led them forward. There was no turning back, they could only keep moving forward. More and more hills appeared in front of them, taller and taller. Finally, after crossing a mountain range that was at least 3,000 meters high, a biting cold storm blew towards them from the other side of the mountain range. Even Alos couldn't resist this kind of storm. He couldn't help but cast his divine power to form a circular shield in front of him. However, the dimensional wind blades in the storm continued to cut at the shield. In the blink of an eye, Alo's shield was riddled with holes. "What are you waiting for?" Alios turned around and shouted, "Come here and see what your enemy looks like now." Lei Luan flew over. The storm raged on his body, but the Titan's alloy shell didn't seem to be afraid of this level of dimensional wind. It just kept producing fiery red mini-energy explosions. The other Titans followed Lei Luan and flew over the mountain range. On the other side of the mountain range, the scene shocked them. The entire valley was filled with giant stone statues. These stone statues were at least 20 meters tall. They looked very lifelike. Some were holding spears, some were holding halberds. All of them looked like they were alive. Lei Luan and the other Titans could even feel the powerful energy stored in these stone statues. It was a shocking energy. "Who are these people?" Lei Luan asked in shock. "These are your enemies." Alios' expression was a little calm. "This is also the reason why I risked my life to leave the sky beyond Avalon and search for you in the 6 realms. Impossible. Impossible." Lei Luan was shocked. "The sky beyond Avalon can't be like this. It can't be like this. You lied to us, you lied to us." "Pfft, why would I lie to you?" Alios said, "The north of the sky beyond Avalon is not what you think it is. The spiritual power here has been exhausted. The gods' desire for power has exceeded the limits of the natural laws. So, the north of the sky beyond Avalon was the first to dry up and become a dead land. The gods thirsted for new spiritual sources, but they didn't want to destroy the order of the 6 realms. So, they chose to erode themselves. As you can see, these people before you, each one of them is a god. Divine punishment. This is the origin." "What? These people are the Olympian gods?" "Yes, and the descendants of the gods." Alios' eyes were cold. "And I am just an exiled god. Today, I came here for the same reason as you, revenge." Lei Luan said calmly, "How do you want revenge?" "Very simple." Alios took a deep breath and said, "Zeus and Odin, their bodies have begun to erode, but their god cores are still there. And you Titans need their cultivation and god cores. Go, devour the god cores of Zeus and Odin. You will be the new gods. With your ability to devour Spirit Mountain, you will be able to conquer the 6 realms." Lei Luan's arms began to tremble, but he didn't lose his mind. He said, "We obtain the inheritance of the gods, but what about you? What benefits do you get?" Alios burst into laughter. "Don't worry, I won't mistreat myself. After you devour the god cores of the gods, you just need to share some of the energy with me so that I can recover from my injuries. The 7 luminaries demon emperor injured me, and my injuries are still very painful. To me, the destruction of the gods is my achievement. I just want revenge, I don't want anything else." Lei Luan's eyes darkened. He growled, "Warriors of the Titans, the time for revenge has come. Destroy the bodies of the gods and extract their god cores." As he spoke, Lei Luan leaped up with his fire hammer and smashed the head of the statue. Then he opened his fingers and tore open the chest of the statue. As expected, there was a god's core that contained the power of the universe's fire. Lei Luan quickly grabbed it and saw that the god's core was glowing with a deep light as if it contained the power of the entire universe. With a mechanical sound, a mechanical passage opened up in Lei Luan's chest. A mechanical arm reached out, grabbed the god core of Zeus, and placed it on the other side of Lei Luan's heart. Just as the mechanical door in his chest closed, a powerful current of air surged through his body, causing him to tremble uncontrollably. The fire hammer in his hand quickly surged with bolts of lightning. This was the power of Zeus. "Ha!" Lei Luan laughed wildly. "Zeus, do you feel it? I'm back, ancestors. The time has come for the Titans to rise again. What are you waiting for, Caxton? Immediately devour Odin's god core." "Yes, Chief." Keston was one of the few brave warriors in Lei Luan's branch, and his strength was only slightly below Lei Luan's. He immediately smashed Odin's statue and absorbed its god core into his own body. In an instant, all the titans began to absorb the god cores of the other gods. The entire north beyond heaven had been reduced to ruins, and even the god cores of the other gods that had been guarding the divine mountain had disappeared. Roar, roar, roar. After obtaining new power, the titans cheered and roared. Lei Luan's eyes were still dark. He turned to look at Allos and said, "Why don't you come and take these god cores yourself? Allos, come here. Why are you hiding so far away?" Allos shook his head and said, "You don't want to see me in the past."
But
because Allos slowly flew forward. But when he was about 100 meters away from the statue, a huge red barrier suddenly appeared in the sky and sent him flying. Allos spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the top of the mountain. His face was full of helplessness as he said, "Do you see that? I'm an exiled god. Once I get close to the gods, I'll be attacked by their barriers. On the other hand, you titans, you're their mortal enemies, but you're not targeted by their barriers." What a joke! Lei Luan calmly looked at Allos and said, "Poor fellow, you really are like a stray dog." Then now, Allos violently coughed a few times and said, "Can you give me a portion of the god core's energy now? Everyone just needs to give me 1/10, and that will do." "A tenth of the god's energy? Are you daydreaming?" Lei Luan couldn't help but laugh. "You're really delusional. Let me tell you, each of us can only give you 1,000th of the god's energy. What if you don't want it?" "I'm afraid that's not enough for me to heal. I'll only ask one question. 1,000th. Do you want it? If not, I'll send you to see Zeus immediately." "Yes, yes, thank you, Elder Lei Luan, for your reward." Lei Luan sneered and said loudly, "Warriors of the Titan race, give back 1,000th of your energy to this poor fellow. After all, we need a human follower. Without this lowly person, we wouldn't have made it here and wouldn't have had the chance to take revenge." The group of titans raised their arms. Immediately, strands of God Core's energy floated into Allos' body. After enduring the overwhelming righteous energy, Allos seemed to be unable to bear it. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his body kept convulsing and trembling. Even his bones seemed to be being reconstructed by the divine energy. Lei Luan said in a low voice, "Poor fellow, when you were exiled, your bones were already taken out. What crime did you commit to receive such a punishment? Did you sleep with Zeus' daughter?" After a long time, Allos lay in a pile of sand, on the verge of death. Lei Luan raised his warhammer and said, "Warriors, prepare to depart. Our journey will not end here." What are you going to do?" Allos asked weakly. Lei Luan said calmly, "This is the north of the realm beyond heaven. We are going to the south to destroy the forces led by Pangu. What, do you have anything else to say?" Allos shook his head and said, "There's no need to go. 2 months ago, the natural sandstorm engulfed the sacred land where Pangu was. Pangu chose to die in meditation to answer to the heavenly Tao. His power permeated the entire plane. Nuwa, Shenong, and the other gods guarded the heavenly sound scroll and went to the even more remote realm beyond heaven. There are only ruins there. You won't be able to find anything." Then, Lei Luan was a little confused. "What can we do even if we obtain such great power?" Allos coughed a few times and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He said, "Revenge? Have you forgotten how we came to the realm beyond heaven? It was the new gods of the 6 realms who banished us. If I were you, I would go to the demon realm immediately, destroy Ziyen, and make the entire army of the demon realm yours. That way, the destruction of the 6 realms is just around the corner. As long as the 6 realms are destroyed, you can rebuild the new order. That is when the Titan race will truly rise. Elder Lei Luan, don't you want to be the one to rebuild the race?" Lei Luan stood there in a daze. He was tempted and said, "Then let's go. We will go to the demon realm immediately. Men, bring Allos with us." "No need," Allos waved his hand. "I can't withstand the impact of the time quicksand for now. I need to rest here for a while. Don't worry and attack the demon realm. I will catch up with you. Let's go." Chapter 1272.
What?
Let's go. Lei Lun let out a low roar, and his huge body flew into the sky like a meteor. He charged straight in the direction he had come from. The nearly 2,000 titans behind him also let out roars. After devouring the divine cores of the gods in the realm beyond heaven, the strength of this group of titans had at least doubled. One could imagine how terrifying they were. In the sand, a sly smile appeared on Aelios' face. He waited until all the titans had left the sky beyond heaven before he laughed and said, "A bunch of idiots. If you can unify the 6 realms with your level of intelligence, then it means that the 6 realms really don't have anyone capable. Do you really think I'm willing to be your underling?" As he spoke, Aelios suddenly slammed his palm down. Immediately, the ground split open, and a bright light shone from the depths of the yellow sand. Upon closer inspection, there was actually a pile of weapons lying there quietly. Aelios raised his palm and smiled faintly. The gods have cultivated for many years. 30% of their power is stored in their weapons. As long as I can refine this divine power, I'll be the strongest in the world. These idiots titans, the 1,000th of the power you gave me came from the gods. This is enough for me to be reborn. As he spoke, he let out a low roar. Immediately, the weapons and equipment in the depths of the earth, including Zeus' lightning and shield, and Odin's lance of eternity, all trembled. Strands of divine power were extracted from the weapons and turned into strands of divine power that seeped into Aelios' body. This time, Aelios' howls were very real. One could imagine the pain his body was in to endure such a vast amount of power. Not long after, Aelios' body started to swell slightly. Even his shoulders and fingertips had black spikes that looked like sharp blades. His eyes turned green, and his long hair suddenly turned white. It was as if he had turned from a god to a demon. As he howled, the sound of his bones cracking became even clearer. Suddenly, a pair of black wings burst out from his back. Power surged, and as they flapped, they turned into lightning and storms that swept in all directions. It was as if the entire beyond heaven was shaking because of this power. "Ha!" Aelios roared and laughed maniacally. Aelios roared and laughed maniacally. He looked at the pile of weapons in the ground and said, "Zeus, do you feel it? I now possess the power of all the gods. What can the laws do to me? What can the heavens and earth do to me?" As he spoke, he suddenly opened his hand and swept up all the weapons on the ground. With an incomparably tyrannical force, he kneaded them into a ball and turned them into liquid. Not long after, he pulled out a long spear that was shining with lightning. When he held it in his hand, the awe-inspiring force made him very satisfied. It was neither good nor evil. This was a divine weapon in the world. "I'll call you Thunder." Aelios had a satisfied smile on his face as he said, "Then, I'll leave the chaos of the 6 realms to the foolish titans to deal with. As for me, I'll be responsible for purging the remaining gods in the realm beyond heaven. Shino, I know you're here. Stop hiding and wait for me to take your lives." In the southernmost border of the realm beyond heaven, the original birdsong and fragrant flowers had turned into a barren desert. The sandstorm in the realm beyond heaven had come so quickly that even the power of the gods could not stop it. The barren spiritual power was the most fatal. It weakened the gods and made them lose their original strength. As a result, the gods of the 6 realms that were supported by the heavenly melody scroll were the most powerful. Under the barren desert, in a quiet cave, golden light flowed above the jagged rocks, and a golden scroll slowly turned in the light. It was the heavenly melody scroll that supported the Mahayana heavenly Tao. Beside it, Nuwa sat there quietly with a hint of sorrow in her eyes. She said, "This catastrophe came too quickly. We didn't even have time to help Brother Fushi when he was killed." "Phew!" Shino closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Suddenly, the green on the ground retracted and seeped into his body. He slowly opened his eyes and said, "As the 3 great ancestral gods, we should have known this day would come. We have protected the Tao for many years, and sacrifice is the only way to achieve Mahayana." Master turned his body into wind, dust, and rain, and he understood the heavenly Tao of sacrifice. Brother Fuxi died for the heavenly Tao above the gold realm. This is his good fortune, why should we force it? Niwa asked, what did you see? Destruction, Shino sighed and said, just as Master said, the once prosperous realm beyond heaven cannot escape this disaster. Now, the realm beyond heaven has become a wasteland, and its spiritual power has weakened. It cannot be compared to the prosperity of the 6 realms. Niwa, we can't stay here for long. I can sense the death of the gods in the north, and an evil force has been reborn. If it finds this place, I'm afraid we will all be in trouble. We're to bring the heavenly sound scroll to the 6 realms and seek the protection of the heavenly Tao of Mahayana. The heavenly sound scroll gave birth to the heavenly Tao of Mahayana, and the heavenly Tao of Mahayana protects the heavenly sound scroll. This is just like Master's prophecy. What do you think? Niwa frowned and said, Brother Fuxi and I were originally one. Now that he is dead, my power has been greatly reduced. Now I can only use 30% of my power. I'm afraid I can't send the heavenly sound scroll to the 6 realms. You don't have to worry about that. Shino smiled faintly, although my power is weak, I still have the ability to send you and the heavenly sound scroll to the 6 realms. Don't forget, I have understood the secret of life many years ago. Niwa was stunned. But Shino was already chanting, and green spiritual power quickly engulfed Niwa and the heavenly sound scroll. In an instant, the ground trembled and Niwa was shocked. No. You can't sacrifice yourself. For the sake of righteousness. Shino shouted, and his palms slammed down on the spatial wall. Niwa and the heavenly sound scroll fell into the endless void, while Shino sat in the cave, his body covered in a layer of gray rock. He was gradually petrifying, and like the gods of the north, he actually laughed and said, the secret of life is to live and die and perish? What is there to pity, what is there to sigh about, what is there to talk about? When the last breath left, Shino's body was completely reduced to a piece of rock, and the cave also collapsed and was buried by the yellow sand. Who knew how many myths and legends were buried under the ground that were praised and pursued by the world? Boom! The whole sky started to rumble, and waves of Sanskrit chants echoed in the ears. The whole sky turned into a golden light, and countless words spread out in the air. This was the sign of the heavenly Tao of Mahayana becoming a god. Lin Muyu and Ria flew up from the Luoyan mountain, and soon, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, Feng Jixing, the 7 luminaries demon emperor, and the rest all flew over. What? Who's ascending? Xia was shocked. It doesn't look like someone is ascending, but the entire heavenly Tao of Mahayana seems to have moved. Qin Yin's sense of order was far better than anyone else's, and she had already sensed that the heavenly Tao of Mahayana had moved from another plane to the 6 realms. Look who's that? Wei Chou pointed into the distance. In the sky, a figure slowly descended, golden light swirling around her. She opened her arms and closed the ancient golden scroll in front of her chest. It was the heavenly sound scroll, and this person was none other than Niwa, who was sent to the 6 realms by Shino. It's Lady Niu, Lin Muyu, Tang Xiaoxi, and the rest had all seen her face before, and together with Miue and the rest, they flew over and stopped a few meters away from Niwa. Lin Muyu gave a fist salute and said, "Greetings, Lady Niwa." Miue said, "Greetings, Uncle Master." Niwa's delicate face had a trace of sorrow as she said, "Miue, so you're still alive, that's great." Miue's eyes reddened. "Uncle Master, I'm useless, I couldn't protect Master." "Even Big Brother couldn't stop that kind of opponent, let alone you? I don't blame you." As she spoke, Niwa looked at Lin Muyu and said, "Lin Muyu, you are a martial god, and also the true inheritor of the heavenly sound scroll. Now that the sky beyond heaven is gone, I brought the heavenly sound scroll to the 6 realms. As long as the heavenly sound scroll exists, the heavenly Tao of Mahayana will exist. Do you understand?" Lin Muyu was startled, then nodded and said, "Rest assured, Lady Niwa. As long as we exist, the heavenly Tao of Mahayana will exist." The 7 luminaries demon emperor stepped forward and said, "Lady Niwa, since the sky beyond heaven is gone, let's invite the heavenly sound scroll into the hall of great accomplishment. The three realms will use all our strength to protect the heavenly Tao of Mahayana and protect the common people. Niwa didn't say anything and only nodded. Then, she brought the heavenly sound scroll into the hall of great accomplishment and found a safe place in the depths of the hall of great accomplishment. She put the heavenly sound scroll away while Niwa guarded it. She was the true protector of the heavenly Tao of Mahayana, but this also meant that Niwa had joined the Eastern divinity and raised a banner for them. After the devil world penetrated through the chaos realm, devil chi surged. However, the devil world didn't seem to be peaceful at this moment. Rumbling sounds came from the sky. Explosions erupted from the surging undercurrents in the distance, accompanied by the sounds of countless devil luos dying. Above the Fekta temple, a group of holy king and demon generals were waiting in formation. Ziyan was dressed in armor and there was a hint of worry in his eyes. He said, "What are these titans trying to do?" "Destroy the demon realm." Bai Feng's voice was extremely calm. "Your Majesty, can't you feel it? The aura of these titans is extremely evil and violent. They are even more evil than the demon realm. Damn it, just a few thousand titans and they want to destroy the demon realm that is deeply rooted in the ground?" Ziyan roared, "Someone, release the evil beasts in the demonic pool and order them to devour the titans in the sky."
But
not long after, the ground cracked open. There was a black demonic pool underground and many evil beasts that looked like swimming dragons roared and charged toward the titans in the sky. However, following a series of explosions, these evil beasts were no match for the titans and they were all killed. Instead, the gigantic titans appeared in the sky with all kinds of weapons in hand and looked at the people of the demon realm led by Ziyan with ferocious eyes. "Ziyan, you treacherous and despicable person. I will use your life as a sacrifice to the titans who died tragically in battle." Lei Luan's figure appeared and his body was wrapped in divine flames that were both good and evil at the same time. Chapter 1273. Fight. The demonic flames in Ziyan's hands turned into a ball of flames. He raised his palms and blasted it out, but it was blocked by Lei Luan. "How can this be?" Ziyan was dumbfounded. That was an attack with 90% of his strength. In the surroundings, countless demon luos and demon generals charged toward the titan. Even the demon gods who had just ascended into the demon realm were eager to give it a try. They were all eager to contribute to the demon realm, so much so that they neglected the powerful enemy in front of them. Amidst the rumbling sounds of mechas, thousands of titan warriors wreaked havoc among the demons. Streaks of blood-red light and energy blasts tore the demon realm warriors into pieces. Clumps of battle figures in the air were like a group of ants biting a giant elephant. However, the result was clearly not as good as Ziyan had imagined. After all, these ants were not poisonous, and the titans who had obtained the god core were much more powerful. They were not afraid of this kind of group attack. After smashing a demon general and his mount into pieces with his warhammer, Lei Luan brushed the blood off his arm and looked at Ziyan with bloodshot eyes. "Ziyan, do you still not understand? You've lost. Your realm of demons has been completely defeated. If you swear loyalty to me now, I will let you live. I'll give you 30 minutes to think about it." "No need." Ziyan gritted his teeth. "I am the master of the realm of demons. I will only be loyal to the realm of demons and my own will. If I swear loyalty to you, is this the realm of demons or the realm of Titan? Stop dreaming. There is no end to the descendants of the realm of demons. There is no way you can fight against us. Men, use the holy demonic arrows to kill this group of steel trash." Huge crossbows were pushed out from the floor of the Fekta sacred hall. There were dazzling magical crystals embedded in the center of each crossbow. Apart from that, there were also some specially forged arrowheads that pointed at the titans in the distance. "Guards, form a shield wall. Holy demonic arrows, fire." Ziyan flew down and personally led a group of holy king and 2 heavenly kings to form an impenetrable wall to protect the long-range weapons behind them. Meanwhile, The holy demon arrows behind them glowed brightly and shot out beams of pure light. Bang, 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 in the sky, explosions rang out incessantly. Many titans' hearts were pierced by the demonic holy arrows. Not only that, but many of the demon realm's own people were also killed. Continue, kill them all. As Ziyan gave the order, he raised his arms. Endless demonic flames surged and formed a huge demonic flame wall in front of him. His eyes flashed and he said, Lei Lun, you only have two paths to take. One is to die in the demon realm, and the other is to immediately take your scrap metal and scram out of the demon realm. Don't let this emperor see you again. In the sky, Lei Lun did not say a word. Instead, he waved his warhammer and roared with all his might. At the same time, hundreds of titans did the same thing. In an instant, countless beams of light flowed down from the sky and directly struck the demonic flame wall that Ziyan had formed. Boom, boom, boom. After a series of violent collisions, the wall instantly collapsed. Not only that, but following the rumbling sounds, the demon generals and holy king beside Ziyan were all pierced by the weapons. Blood floated in the air and some were even directly devoured by their own demonic flames. Behind him, explosions sounded from the Fekta sacred hall. The holy demon arrows were almost all destroyed. Ziyan's last resort was gone. These holy demon arrows were originally prepared for the 7 luminaries demon emperor and Lin Muyu. He did not expect them to end up like this. They were destroyed before they could even see them. Strong winds blew. Lei Lun opened his palm and the power from Zeus surged continuously. In an instant, the sky was filled with thunder and lightning. Amidst the rumbling sounds, the huge Fekta sacred hall instantly collapsed. That was the foundation of the demon realm. Not only that, another titan roared and attacked. His spear glowed with holy light. It was Odin's ultimate technique. Boom! A demon god's heart was pierced and he died instantly. Roar, roar! The two heavenly kings roared angrily. With Ziyan's tacit approval, they charged toward the group of titans. However, it was clear that they could not hold on for long. Lei Lun and the other titans were too strong. Their powers were both righteous and evil, and they were incomparably vast. Even Ziyan might not be able to fight Lei Lun one-on-one. Ancestor Emperor. Bai Feng held his sword, his face full of confusion. The demon realm can't hold on much longer. Let's go. Pass down the order for the remaining demon realm troops to leave together. We are leaving the demon realm. Where else can we go? Ziyan shouted. To Mount Dashang. What? Ziyan said proudly. We once slaughtered tens of thousands of crippled gods at Mount Dashang. Do you think the 7 luminaries demon emperor and Lin Muyu will take us in? I'm afraid they will get rid of us together with these bastard titans. They won't. Bai Feng said confidently. The situation has already changed. We don't know where these titans obtained such tyrannical power. Lei Lun is the true enemy of the god realm. On the other hand, as long as we head to Mount Dashang and draw the flames of war there, the final outcome will be a bloody battle between the Eastern God realm and the Lei Lun tribe. And we can just sit back and watch them win or lose, Ancestor Emperor. Ziyan's eyes flickered. He could not make up his mind for a moment. It was only when the two heavenly kings let out miserable cries and their bodies were torn to shreds by Lei Lun and the other titans that Ziyan struck the air beneath his feet. Instantly, a huge cosmic well appeared in the air. It was like a gooseneck tunnel that led to the periphery of the demon realm. He shouted, "Demons of the demon realm, retreat with me, immediately!" With that, Ziyan leaped into the star well of eternity, and Bai Feng and the other saint kings also leaped in one by one. They were the most precious forces of the devil world, and once they were killed, the entire devil world would most likely regress for tens of thousands of years. In the cosmic well, Ziyan, Bai Feng, and the others who were shuttling back and forth could not help but look back. However, they saw the miserable state of Mara's army in the demon realm being wiped out by the titans with a single blow. The tens of millions of Mara's army had already become history and would never appear again. Swoosh, 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 everyone appeared in the cosmic star. They were already thousands of miles away from the demon realm. Ziyan had a dejected look on his face as he said, "Is this what I deserve?" Bai Feng remained silent. The rest of the demon gods and demon generals appeared in the teleportation array one after another. More and more of them appeared. However, there did not seem to be too many people who managed to escape. There were no more than 5,000 of them. The last to appear was a middle demon god. When he flew out, the cosmic well behind him had already disappeared. With a mournful look on his face, he said, "The cosmic tunnel has been destroyed. Your Majesty, they are going on a killing spree in the demon realm. I'm afraid we won't be able to protect our people. These titans are simply insane. What are they trying to do?" Ziyan clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. "Let's go to the Eastern Heaven realm." "Yes." Mount Dashang. Figures appeared from the illusory pool. They were the figures of the people from the demon realm. Actually, everything that had happened in the demon realm had been seen through here. Ever since Goddess Nuwa had descended on Mount Dashang, the perception and spiritual senses here had increased by several folds. "The demon realm is finished. We are next," Feng Jixing said with his arms crossed. The 7 luminaries demon emperor smiled. "It's a pity that we are not the demon realm. We won't just sit and wait for death. We might not be as strong as the demon realm." Tang Xiaoxi dampened their enthusiasm. Not far away, on the other side of the stone steps, stood the people from the Western Divine Realm. Shi Yen, Eva, and the rest had already led their elites to enter Mount Dashang. This was also one of the agreements. Looking at the image in the illusory pool, Shi Yen frowned. It's obvious that the titans of the Leiluan tribe have been strengthened by a mysterious power. Their power has at least doubled. I'm afraid it'll be difficult for us to fight them head-on. Know yourself and know your enemy. The crux of the problem is that we don't know the actual situation of the other side. We have no idea where the Titan's power comes from and how strong they are. Ziyao's bright eyes were like autumn water as she looked at everyone. It's the power crystal of the northern gods. The voice was faint, as if it did not come from the mortal world. Strands of holy power fell in the hall like rain, and a figure quickly formed. It was Goddess Nuwa. Everyone knelt on one knee. "Greetings, Goddess Nuwa." Nuwa nodded and smiled. "Rise." Miue said, "Uncle Master, you said that this is the power of the northern gods. What is it?" Nuwa said, "After the spiritual power was exhausted, the gods of the realm beyond Avalon could no longer support the world that was about to collapse. Therefore, they could only choose to sink into oblivion. Master was the same as them, choosing to sink into oblivion. However, if I'm not wrong, the northern gods have retained the essence of their power. Therefore, the essence of their power should have been stolen by the titans." Lin Muyu frowned. "In other words, if we start a war, it's equivalent to us starting a war with the titans and the northern gods of the realm beyond Avalon?" "That's right. Perhaps they're even stronger." Nuwa's eyes were filled with worry as she said, "You, perhaps your sacred martial power will be able to turn the tide, or perhaps it won't. However, one thing is certain. The battle between the righteous and evil has finally arrived. The fallen titans have already fallen into the hands of evil. In order to obtain more power, they will do all sorts of evil." Chu Chu sighed. "The titans are good at absorbing the power of the plane from the spirit mountain. Who knows how many lives in the plane will become sacrifices to the titans?" Feng Jixing said, "It won't take the titans more than a few days to completely conquer the demon realm. We don't have much time left. After conquering the demon realm, will they attack the eastern celestial realm immediately?" "Not necessarily." Shi Yen raised her eyebrows. "If they know that the eastern, northern, and western celestial realms have merged, they probably won't rush to attack Mount Dashang. At least, it doesn't seem realistic now. With Yu Yu's holy power, our strength will also multiply. The titans only have about 2,000 of them. After the war in the demon realm, they might lose more than 1,000. In addition, Lady Nuxi is with us now. When the time comes, their strength will be on par with ours." Lin Muyu crossed her arms and said, If I were them, I would absorb even more spiritual energy and be fully prepared for the final battle against the Eastern Celestial Realm. Chapter 1274. So, for the Leiluan tribe, what they need to do now is to attack the Spirit Mountains and absorb the power of the other planes for their own use. Only then will they be able to fight against the Divine Realm, right? The 7 luminaries' Demon Emperor narrowed his eyes and smiled. If that's the case, we can't just sit and wait. If the Titans attack the Spirit Mountains, we can't just sit and watch. If they attack, we'll ambush them. If we can kill one more Titan, they'll have one less. If they don't split up, they won't be able to destroy the Spirit Mountains quickly enough. If they split up, we'll attack. Shiyan smiled. Yo, the 7 luminaries' Demon Emperor has become smart. You know how to use strategies like you. What are you talking about? I know how to do it, but I don't want to. Qin Yin tried to smooth things over. Then what do we do now? Let's wait and see. The 7 Brilliance Demon Monarch said, if we're planning to ambush them, we'll need to form a few groups of ambushers. We'll need to gather our strongest forces and eliminate the Titan tribe in a single blow. We won't give them any chance to hunt us down. Therefore, we must consider both attacking and escaping before we attack. Xiao pursed her lips. We can't have too many people. Each team has 5 people, but everyone has to do their job. Lin Muyu smiled. That's easy. I, Xiao Yin, Xiao Shi, Brother Feng, and Wei Chou will form a team. We have offense, defense, and archery. No matter how strong the Titans are, we'll be able to kill them if we ambush them one by one. Yeah. Xiao nodded. Yu's team is the first and strongest team. What about the others? Who else wants to join? Shi Yan stepped forward. The Western Divine Realm is duty-bound. I, Eva, Li Fei, Terralyn, and Star Goddess Carolyn can form a team. Although our offense and defense won't be as good as Yu's team, it won't be too bad. Xiao smiled. With 2 blazing angels guarding the place, it definitely won't be a problem as long as we don't run into Leilun. The 7 luminaries' Demon Emperor said, it seems that the Eastern Divine Realm can only form 2 teams. Me and Xiao, Fire God Zhaoding, Nengong Lai. Air, we're still missing a High God. Who's willing to fill in? On the side of the Northern Heaven Realm, the gods stood in great numbers. Dong Ming coughed and said, 2nd-tier superior god, God Dong, are you willing? If you're willing, I can make up the numbers for you. There's no helping it, the number of righteous gods in our northern god realm is just too few, and I'm the only higher god. Ziyao giggled. That would be great. Thank you, godly King Winterming, for giving me face. It's what I should do. The 3 heavenly realms are interdependent after all. Goddess Nua's face showed a hint of relief. Then it's decided. The 3 teams will be led by the War God, Mad God, and Moon Goddess respectively. Once we find out that the Titans have split up to attack Mount Spirited, we will attack. We must not let the Titans continue to grow stronger. Otherwise, we won't even have a chance of winning. You guys attack separately, I will guard Mount Dashang. The 7 luminaries' Demon Emperor said, I'm just worried that after our 15 main gods attack Mount Dashang, what should we do if the Titan army presses down on us? Once we leave, we might not be able to return for 3 to 5 days. Nua smiled and said, you don't have to worry about that. I have treasures for you. As she spoke, Nua lightly raised her sleeve, and instantly, 3 fist-sized ice crystals that were like water droplets floated out. She said, this is a pure yang glazed lamp refined from the spirit of the heavens and the earth. It's a relic left behind by my master. Take it with you, and no matter where you go, so long as you crush the glazed lamp, then everything within 10 meters of you will be returned to this place. With that, Nua muttered some incantations, and the 3 pure yang glazed lamps were imprinted on Mount Dashang. Lin Muyu, the 7 luminaries' Demon Emperor, and Shi Yan walked forward respectfully and received the glazed lamps, then treasured them in their space bags. This was a life-saving treasure, much more useful than the Heavenly Book of the Law of Space. The Heavenly Book could only teleport a few dozen kilometers away. With the Titan's strength, they would be able to catch up very quickly, and it would not be safe. Alright, then let's get ready. Yes. At this moment, a beautiful figure walked in quickly. It was Chu Yao. She frowned slightly and said, "The people from the devil world are here. They will arrive at Mount Deshang soon. Even Ziyan is here." Chu Yao could predict the future, so her words would definitely not be wrong. Lin Muyu frowned and said, "Regardless of whether Ziyan is really here to join us, let's get into formation and face the enemy first. The Titans under Lei Lun have done too much evil, and Ziyan is not a good person either. Yes, let's go and meet him." The gods flew out together, while Lady Nuwa sat quietly at the side of the illusory pool and entered a meditative state of cultivation. In the sky, the cold wind was biting cold. Lin Muyu, Feng Jixing, and the rest flew into the sky one by one, waiting for the enemy to arrive. Not long after, as expected, figures appeared one after another in the sky of Mount Deshang. They were all murderers who had attacked Mount Deshang before. Among them, there were even demon gods who had personally killed the righteous gods of the eastern celestial world. "Prepare for battle," Lin Muyu shouted in a low voice. Immediately, the casual robe that she was wearing was plated with a layer of golden light. A scarlet cloak spread out from behind her, and she instantly entered the martial god state. On the side, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, the 7 luminaries demon emperor, Feng Jixing, and the rest also entered the incomparably majestic god transformation state one after another. For a moment, they were ready to fight. Pang! The Xinyuan sword, which was still in its sheath, suddenly hit the void under their feet. Immediately, a majestic golden divine power rippled out, forming a barrier formed by the power of the holy martial arts a few hundred meters in front of Lin Muyu, Feng Jixing, and the rest. Lin Muyu raised her eyebrows and said, "This is Mount Deshang, the sacred land of the eastern celestial world. Ziyan, what are you doing here? Are you going to declare war on the celestial world again?" Ziyan frowned and said, "I don't mean that. Lin Muyu, don't you know everything that has happened in the demon world?" "I know." "If you know, why do you ask?" Ziyan said indifferently, "At this time, the demon world is like a dead egg, and the power of the Leiluan tribe is far beyond any of your celestial world. Times have changed. Now that we have a common enemy, we should be in a state of interdependence. What do you mean by putting up such a battle formation?" Lin Muyu couldn't help but laugh. "Ziyan, how many upright gods have you killed, and now you are trying to please us? When you were the lord of the demon world with millions of subordinates, we were still afraid of you. Now, look at how many people are following you. Do you deserve to be our ally now? To put it bluntly, if I turn against you, I can kill all of you by myself." Ziyan trembled with anger, but he also believed that Lin Muyu could do such a thing, and she had the capital to say such words. The martial god who had the AO sword tactics and the power of holy martial arts was simply invincible. Once he was provoked, he could do whatever he said. Ziyao stood up to smooth things over and said, "Ziyan, what do you want to do in Mount Deshang?" Ziyan frowned and didn't know what to say. Holy King Bai Feng rode his mount and flew out, saying, "Fairy Ziyao, now that the demon world has been destroyed and the Leiluan tribe has destroyed our home, we have nowhere to go now, and we may be chased at any time. Therefore, the Ancestor Emperor brought the fire seed of the demon world here to seek protection from the celestial world. You are gods, and I hope you can provide us with protection." 7 luminaries demon emperors sneered. "So, only a few thousand people escaped from the demon world? That's great. If we kill you all now, then the biggest threat to the 6 realms can be eliminated." The group of demon gods and demon generals turned pale with fright, and all of them were ready to fight. Ziyao didn't say anything, and seemed to agree with the 7 luminaries demon emperor's words. But at this time, Bai Feng Holy King said, "7 luminaries emperor, Fairy Ziyao, martial god, you are the rulers of the celestial world, and naturally know the rules and order of the 6 realms. All things are living beings, and the people of the demon world are also living beings. Since there are lives, we can't not save them. The final order of the 6 realms must be coexistence. Lady Qin, you are the graceful goddess, you should know this the best, right? Qin pursed her red lips and nodded her head in silence. Lin Muyu said, provide protection to you? But how do we know that you won't be a wolf that can't be fed, and take advantage of our weakness to give us a fatal blow? We definitely won't, we definitely won't. Bai Feng Holy King gritted her teeth and said, I swear. You are only the Holy King, there is no use in swearing. Shi Yan smiled and said, if I remember correctly, the Holy King has no status, and is even lower than the Holy Emperor. Bai Feng Holy King. Zi Yan frowned and said, Lady Shi Yan, you still remember me? Shi Yan giggled, and her elegant battle angel attire trembled slightly. The towering peaks on her chest were captivating. She stared at Zi Yan with her beautiful eyes and said, didn't you say that you wanted to be a good demon? But then, you took the god-destroying tower and almost killed me and Eva. We haven't settled this debt yet. Zi Yan said, then what do you want? The 7 luminaries demon emperor said, we can provide protection, but there is a condition. What condition? Zi Yan said, cripple your demonic arts, Zi Yan. Lin Muyu said resolutely, your power will always be a threat, so we will not allow you to continue existing. Either you cripple your cultivation or you die. Zi Yan gritted his teeth and said, it's fine if you don't provide protection, but you are actually so overbearing? Are we overbearing? Lin Muyu raised her eyebrows and said, you can leave, but the moment you do, I will lead the gods to hunt you down. The demon realm has always been our mortal enemy. If we did not submit to the god realm, why should we protect you? Shi Yan smiled and said, Zi Yan, for the demon realm, or for yourself, do as you see fit. Didn't you say that you want to be a good demon? Let's start with this step. Zi Yan, after a while, the Holy King Bai Feng said, Ancestor Emperor, if there is no other way, let's leave. If they want to kill us, then kill us. At most, we will fight to the death. No. Zi Yan's eyes turned red, and he said, Shi Yan is right. I am a member of the demon realm, so I have to do something for the demon realm. If I lose my cultivation, I will lose my position as the Lord of the demon realm. I hope that the next Lord of the demon realm will be someone who knows how to judge the situation, so I choose to pass on my cultivation to the next Lord of the demon realm. She is you, Bai Feng. Bai Feng Holy King Bai Feng was stunned. Me? Chapter 1275. Yes, it's you. Are you ready? Zi Yan gently opened his palm. Streams of blood qi surged. He had already begun to disperse his internal energy. He had no other choice. Lin Muyu, Shi Yan, 7 luminaries demon emperor, and the other righteous gods were eyeing him covetously. They would never allow Zi Yan to leave unscathed. Your Majesty, there must be another choice. Bai Feng said anxiously. However, her body suddenly seemed to be grabbed by a huge palm. She couldn't move. It was the domain created by Zi Yan's demonic energy. It had completely confined Bai Feng's body. You don't need to resist. Just accept the power I give you. Zi Yan's voice was calm. It may be painful, but you have to endure it. The future of the devil world is in your hands. Thick demonic flames surged and lingered around Bai Feng. They seeped into her body. Bai Feng howled in pain. She was just a small holy king. One could imagine the pain she was in when she suddenly suffered from Zi Yan's formidable power. The group of holy kings and demon generals around her stood there dumbfounded. They knew that Zi Yan was dispersing his internal energy to preserve the fate of his race. Although the devil world had far more people than the divine world, they were by no means a match for the divine world. The 3 main gods, Lin Muyu, 7 luminaries demon emperor, and Shi Yan, were beyond the devil world's ability to handle. Not to mention, there were so many superior gods of the 2nd and 3rd tier. Once they attacked, they could destroy a mere few thousand people of the devil world in an instant. Gradually, the 2 sides of Bai Feng's head began to protrude. Blood flowed all over her face. She knelt on the spatial wall and groaned miserably. Her body was covered with a purple aura. Not long after, her long hair turned purple-red. 2 curved horns grew from both sides of her head. She looked just like a devil. The great power had even changed the appearance of the holy king of the White Wind. Lin Muyu and Shi Yan frowned in silence. The 7 luminaries demon emperor growled, "Ziyan, what are you doing? Do you think that the demon realm will be able to escape this calamity just because you imparted your power to Baifeng? So what if she's Baifeng? She's also from the devil realm and the mortal enemy of the Mahayana heavenly Tao." Ziyan's entire body trembled, and because he had lost too much power, he began to age. His hair turned white in the blink of an eye, and the flames in his eyes seemed like they were about to burst out. Looking at Lin Muyu, he roared, "Lin Muyu, martial god. You don't trust me, but don't you trust the holy king Baifeng?" Baifeng was kneeling not far from Lin Muyu. She raised her head in pain, her eyes filled with a pleading look. "I trust her." Lin Muyu knew that if it wasn't for the help of the holy king Baifeng in the previous battle, she wouldn't have been able to save Qin Yin, Ziyao, and the rest so smoothly. Baifeng had kindness in her heart, which was very rare. In the entire devil realm, she was probably the most suitable person to be the lord of the devil realm. Only she could make the devil realm and the celestial realm coexist peacefully. Thank you." Baifeng, holy king Baifeng lowered her head again and groaned in pain. The 7 luminaries demon emperor didn't say anything else. Lin Muyu believed that he must have his reasons, so there was no need to ask anymore. In fact, the 7 luminaries demon emperor didn't want to interfere in this kind of thing. His heart was to be able to settle his debts of gratitude and revenge. The entire process lasted for nearly 10 minutes. When Ziyan's devil flame power seeped into Baifeng holy king Baifeng's body, his skin shrunk a little, and he fell on the mount of a demon general, fainting. Sush. On the other hand, Baifeng holy king Baifeng's body was enshrouded in layers of purple devil flame, which plated her body with a layer of pale golden armor. A dark golden cloak fluttered behind her. At this moment, the demon realm seemed to have recognized this new lord of the demon realm. Even her demon god transformation state had changed completely. All the demon realm experts knelt down and said in a low voice, "Greetings, Holy Emperor Baifeng." Baifeng's eyes were like water. She gently waved her hand and said, "Rise." As she said that, she floated to Ziyan's side and asked softly, "Ancestor Emperor, how are you?" Ziyan shook his head. "I'm fine. Don't worry about me." "Lin Muyu Xian, can you protect the demon realm now?" "Yes." Xian's cloak fluttered in the wind behind her. There was a faint smile on her lips as she said, "Since we are like lips and teeth, we naturally have to protect each other. However, Ziyan, I'm a little surprised that you're willing to part with your cultivation." Ziyan smiled bitterly and said, "So what if I'm unwilling? No matter how much I desire power, I can't destroy the entire demon realm. Now, since you've promised, then give us a place to establish ourselves in the demon realm." Ziyao said, 200 miles east of Mount Dashang, there is a spiritual mountain called Fire Forest Mountain. There are fiery red maple trees growing there all year round. The core of the mountain is connected to the fire forest world under the jurisdiction of the Eastern God realm. The population of the fire forest world is abundant and the spiritual energy there is abundant. You can temporarily stay on the fire forest mountain. We will provide all the food you need. At the very least, if you stay on the fire forest mountain, Lei Lun won't dare to attack. Even if he does, we can instantly rush to your rescue. Many thanks, Fairy Ziyao. Baifeng the Holy Emperor nodded and said, "Then, please appoint a righteous god to lead us there? I know the fire forest mountain. Should I bring them there?" Lin Muyu said, "All right." The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor and Ziyao nodded in delight. Lin Muyu was the most suitable person to go. He was familiar with Ziyan and Baifeng. Moreover, he was very strong, so there was no need to worry about the demon realm's retaliation. After comforting everyone, the demon realm's army began to fly towards the fire forest mountain. Not long after, the misty Immortal mountain appeared in the sea of clouds. Baifeng couldn't help but relax her brows and said, "The domain of the gods is indeed so beautiful. It is far better than the darkness and obscurity of the demon realm and the hell of Mara. Lin Muyu flew side by side with her and said, every immortal mountain is connected to a large plain. Therefore, you can only absorb the spiritual energy there and must not damage the core. Once the core of the spiritual mountain is damaged, the death toll will be in the hundreds of millions. I hope Bai Feng can supervise the entire demon realm's army and stop them from running amok.
Yes, I will.
Bai Feng pursed her purple lips and nodded. Not far away, Ziyan sat on the back of a demon tiger and said, Bai Feng, I'm sorry.
But
Bai Feng was stunned. Ziyan said in a low voice, I know you have a bright heart. Originally, I planned to hand over the divine realm's holy land to you after the demon realm unified the 6 worlds and let you rule the 4 great divine realms. Compared to me, you are more qualified. I wanted you to be the king of the gods and rule the world together with the demon realm.
unfortunately,
I still dragged you into the endless abyss of the demon realm. Bai Feng frowned and said, Ancestor Emperor, I have always understood that the demon realm is just a name. A race doesn't have to be associated with evil and slaughter. What do you think?
perhaps.
Ask the martial god if he would believe such a thing. I believe. Lin Mu smiled and said, why not? I have always been a person who pursues perfection. I have never thought of exterminating the entire demon realm. I only wanted to beat you back to the demon realm and re-establish the seal of the 6 worlds. From then on, the demon realm and the divine realm can coexist peacefully. However, I didn't expect the Titan clan to appear halfway. Ziyan grinned and said, I have something to say, but I don't know if I should say it or not.
Say it, Ziyan.
It's very simple. Ziyan said, you righteous gods all talk about benevolence and morality. You are not willing to harm the common people. However, the Titans are different. I have seen the power of Lei Lun. His Titans have done all kinds of evil. They destroyed the spiritual mountains and absorbed the spirits of all living things. Their power will continue to increase, while you righteous gods will not be able to advance. As this goes on, the power of the Lei Lun tribe will eventually surpass you. At that time, I am afraid it will be too late for you to regret. Even the gods from the sky beyond heaven will not be able to save you. You still don't know? Lin Muyu said with a frown. Don't know what? Ziyan asked. There is no sky beyond heaven anymore. The gods from the sky beyond heaven have all been annihilated. Ah! Ziyan turned pale with fright. Why? I don't know either. Lin Muyu shook her head and said, in short, everything is not as we had imagined. Your ambition to rule the world and my righteous path has become a bit difficult. After the sky beyond heaven is annihilated, the heavenly sound scroll of the Mahayana heavenly Tao is the only righteous path's law. The Lei Lun tribe will definitely fight with us. At that time, it will be up to you who you support. Do you want to see the living beings of the 6 realms coexist peacefully, or do you want to see the whole world go dark and be devoured by the Titans? His voice was very soft, but every word he said was sonorous. Holy Emperor Bai Feng wanted to say something but stopped. After a few seconds, he said, Martial God, please be at ease. The demon realm will not follow the ancient teachings. The demon realm is also a race of the 6 realms. We will not sit and watch the Titans destroy the whole world. Lin Muyu looked down at the spirit mountain below her and said, We've arrived at the Fire Forest Mountain. This place will be your temporary residence. This was originally a primitive forest and has not been developed. You can cut down trees to build your own houses or dig a cave to live in. As long as you don't damage your body's core, it will be fine. Yes, we understand. Then I won't be seeing you off. May you all be well. Yes. Bai Feng stood in the wind and respectfully bowed to Lin Muyu and said, May you all be well. With the sound of the wind, Lin Muyu was already a few miles away. Looking at Lin Muyu's disappearing figure, Ziyan said weakly, Bai Feng, do you really believe him? Is it really worth it for us to entrust the fate of the entire demon realm to a person who has the power to destroy the world? It's worth it. Bai Feng forcefully nodded and said, His power is indeed enough to destroy the world, but he doesn't. Does he need anything more to prove his character? Compared to the righteous gods, are we evil and violent? Ziyan asked a question that didn't quite match his identity. Hee. Bai Feng laughed. No, our way of dealing with enemies is correct, but now, the Mahayana heavenly law is already our ally, so we must treat each other with sincerity. Ancestor Emperor, let me help you to rest. The spirit energy here is abundant and can help you recover quickly. But a group of experts from the Devil Realm landed one after another. They began to cut down trees and build houses. There was no lack of demon gods from the various planes among these experts. Some of them were even carpenters by birth. Their skills were now put to good use. Chapter 1276. The Southern God Realm was located in a sacred land amidst a sea of stars. Celestial mountains floated in the middle of the sea of clouds, shrouded in celestial energy. The gods of the Southern God Realm lived here for generations. The Palace of Gloom was a palace that was connected by two celestial mountains. The two celestial mountains were connected by a long corridor in the air, which made this place seem even more mysterious. Although the Palace of Gloom was called the Palace of Gloom, it was actually made of gold and copper tiles, intersecting with each other. In addition, the two celestial mountains were connected by a dense forest and surrounded by clouds and mist, making this place seem like a celestial realm. Thunder God Luowen was a second-rank higher god of the Southern God Realm. He controlled the strongest power in the Southern God Realm. Ever since he ascended, he was worshipped as the ruler of the Southern God Realm. At this time, the dim palace was solemn. The light of the setting sun was reflected on the glazed floor tiles of the main hall. The floor tiles were reflecting the huge pillars that two people could encircle, and the ancient characters above them were reflected one by one. Thunder gods stood beside the throne. Below the throne were a dozen or so righteous gods who stayed behind to guard the Gloom Palace. All of them were silent. Clatter, clatter, clatter. A crippled god clad in armor walked into the great hall accompanied by the sound of heavy footsteps. His gaze was ice-cold as he said, "An incense stick's worth of time ago, the figures of the Titans appeared 150 kilometers to the east. They have already destroyed 3 spirit mountains in a row and they are currently absorbing the energy within them. Lord Thunder God, if we do not attack now, I'm afraid that the entire Southern God Realm will be destroyed in a single day." Thunder God said indifferently, "How many Titans have come?" 5 in total, divided into 2 groups. Oomph. At this time, a middle-aged man at the front of the gods in the main hall stepped forward and cupped his fists. "Thunder God, the Thunder Luan tribe has already attacked the Devil Realm. We don't know where their main force is, but some of the evil Titans have already invaded our Southern God Realm. This is not a crisis that we can handle alone. Please send a distress signal to Mount Deshang immediately. The gods have gathered there and will definitely be able to solve our crisis." Mount Deshang? Thunder God smiled. "Dong Yi, have you forgotten that we were chased out of Mount Deshang? The gods of Mount Deshang don't care about our Southern Divine Realm at all, so why should we go and humiliate ourselves?" The Thunder Luan tribe destroyed the demon world in one fell swoop, and they are determined to conquer the 6 realms. Their next target will definitely be the Deshang Mountain, and not us. Don't worry, it's just 3 to 5 Titans. We'll gather our strength and annihilate them in one fell swoop. But, Thor, Dong Yi frowned and said, "Even if there are only 3 to 5 Titans, we can't underestimate them. It is said that these Titans are all brave and invincible. Even the Holy King of the Demon Realm is no match for them. We lack manpower, so I'm afraid we're no match for them." Ha! The God of Thunder could not help but laugh wildly. He pointed at Dong Yi and said, "Dong Yi, as a second-tier god, you actually dare to say such insulting words to the gods. No wonder the Mahayana Heavenly Tao conferred you the title of God of Cooking. Looking at you, I'm afraid that only washing rice and cooking are suitable for you. If you don't dare, I'll lead the Southern gods to kill Titan." Dong Yi's face alternated between red and white. He said, "God of Thunder, if you insist on doing things your own way, I'll go with you." "Ha, that's right. Gods, follow me to kill the enemies." "Yes, my lord." But at this moment, a buzzing sound came from the sky, as if the sky was trembling. What followed was an oppressive feeling that could crush everything. The bricks and tiles of the main hall were shattered. "What's wrong?" Dong Yi was shocked. With a loud bang, the main hall was smashed into pieces. A blood-red warhammer landed on the glazed floor, followed closely by the huge body of a titan. Who else could it be other than Lei Lun? "Bastard!" The god of thunder, Luo Wen, roared angrily. He raised his spear and dashed forward. Light flowed on the tip of the spear and instantly turned into thousands of lightning bolts that swallowed Lei Lun's body. But when the lightning bolts were less than 30 centimeters away from Lei Lun's body, they were suddenly blocked by an energy shield. For a moment, the shield was ravaged by the lightning bolts, leaving fiery red marks on it. But the shield remained standing. "You want to fight against my race?" Lei Lun's mechanical voice was tinged with ridicule. His left fist rumbled as he punched at Thor with the power of Zeus's lightning. Thor hastily withdrew his spear and blocked it in front of his chest. With a roar, he condensed a huge lightning shield to protect his body. Bang! The two thunder powers intertwined. Although Lei Lun's punch wasn't able to break the shield, his huge fist still swept across Thunder God's shield. Immediately, Thunder God couldn't help but be blasted away. His divine power shield broke through two huge pillars, and finally, its energy was exhausted. Thunder God was blasted out of the palace hall by Lei Lun's fist. "Save the god of thunder!" The gods shouted. But it was too late. Figures fell from the sky one after another, creating ripples of energy in their wake as they trampled all the gods of the southern god realm to death, causing blood to spurt everywhere. Outside the hall, a bolt of lightning suddenly grabbed the body of the cooking god, Dong Yi, and threw him into the air. Dong Yi was in the wind, but he heard the angry roar of the thunder god, Luo Wen, "Go to the eastern god realm, live." Behind him, a huge silhouette leaped into the air. After a lightning bolt, a huge metal foot stomped on Thunder God. It was Lei Lun's attack, and it was extremely powerful. Bang! An air current surged and lightning crackled. The god of thunder summoned a shield for the second time and raised his arm to block Lei Lun's attack. But how could he block it? With a loud bang, the god of thunder's body sank several meters into the ground. The entire Gloom Palace sank almost half a meter, and many of the buildings were on the verge of collapse. The god of thunder's divine power dissipated in the air. He was dead. God of thunder. Dong Yi glanced behind him and saw countless black figures in the sky. The titans had descended one by one, and they had appeared in a place that none of the gods in the god realm had expected. They had actually chosen the southern god realm as their second destination after the devil realm. Dong Yi endured the pain and tears in his eyes and flew towards the eastern god realm without looking back. Behind him, countless crippled gods of the southern celestial world rushed out and clashed with the titans of the Thunder Luan tribe. In an instant, streaks of fiery light appeared on the two great spirit mountains where the Palace of Gloom was located. The southern celestial world was completely defeated, and their army was close to annihilation. Half a day later, a figure appeared in the sky. Dong Yi had used up almost all of his divine power to fly, and he fell from the sky towards the Hall of Great Accomplishment like a meteor. "He's here." Wei Chou leaped and lightly carried Dong Yi's body into his arms. Then he floated into the hall. In the Great Hall, all the gods of the Eastern God realm were already present. Even Shi Yan, Dong Ming, Lao Hua and the others were present. Each and every one of them had solemn expressions on their faces. More than half a day ago, Chu Yao had already prophesied that the southern god realm was about to be destroyed. Now, Dong Yi had finally arrived and brought back a definite piece of news. 7 Luminaries Emperor. Dong Yi knelt on the ground wearily and said with tears streaming down his face, "The southern heaven realm is gone, all gone." The 7 Luminaries Demon Emperor sat on the throne and frowned. I already know." Dong Yi cried, "Lord Thunder God, more than 20 righteous gods and tens of thousands of crippled gods are all gone, I know." The 7 Luminaries Demon Emperor was a little helpless and waved his hand. "We are the protectors of the Mahayana Heavenly Way, just like the Southern Heaven Realm. We will definitely not stand by and watch. Soon, we will set off for the southern god realm to fight. Dongyi, go and have a good rest first. If you have enough divine power, you might be able to do your part for the Mahayana heavenly way. Yes, I will take my leave. Dongyi was led by Chu Yao to the residence that had been arranged for him in advance. The 7 luminaries demon emperor took a deep breath and said, "Now you can tell me, why did you stop us from heading to the southern god realm half a day ago?" "That's right, why?" Xiao also asked. Lin Muyu took a step forward and said calmly, "You saw it in the illusory pool. Lei Lun gathered more than 1,000 mutated titans to attack the southern god realm and destroyed the entire southern god realm in one go. Other than Dong Yi, not a single one of them survived. At this moment, Lei Lun has already planned to use the Gloom Palace as their foundation in the god realm. If we go to the southern god realm now, it would be equivalent to going head-to-head with their 1,000 titans. This is definitely not the best time to attack." Shi Yan nodded her head in agreement and smiled. Yu's judgment is very correct. This is definitely not the best time to attack. Dong Ming asked, "Then when do you think is the best time to attack, martial god?" Lin Muyu said, "The reason why the Lei Lun tribe occupied the southern god realm is very simple. They are after the core energy of the spirit mountains. Therefore, once they gain a foothold in the Gloom Palace, they will definitely send the titans to disperse and absorb the energy of the various spirit mountains. As far as I know, the spirit mountains in the southern god realm are very far away from each other. The closest one to the Gloom Palace is at least an hour's flight away. This will make things easier. We can use the time difference to continuously kill the titans that are absorbing energy from the various spirit mountains." Xiao chuckled. "Yes, Yu is still the one who sees things clearly. Then let's wait. Lei Lun will definitely separate the titans to destroy the various spirit mountains." "There's no need to wait, they have already started." Feng Jixing pointed at the illusory pool and the water surface immediately rose. Within the dense mist, the titans around the Gloom Palace appeared one by one and scattered in all directions. "Is this the best time?" Wei Chou asked. Lin Muyu nodded. "The 3 teams will act separately. Let's go. We must eliminate them before they can absorb the powerful energy." "Yes, all right." The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor and Shi Yan nodded respectively. After the time it took for a joss stick to burn, 15 streams of light separated into 3 teams and left Mount Deshang. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared into the vast starry light. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.